And these are good? Okay. Fuck me. What's good, bro?
What's up, man?
The
Weekend, yeah?
It's been something, bro. Well, hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Matrix Dialogues. We're in Hawaii today. It's kind of been a running theme of us kind of being all over the place the last month or so, from LA, New York, Hawaii now. We've been going. We're on the, like you guys can see, we're like posted up on the beach. I'm outside. It's mad windy, so this is going to be a hell of a job to clean up later for us. But we're here, and we're in Hawaii because I ran a marathon with this nerd next to me, the great Danny Chavarria. What's good, my boy?
What's up, man?
Thanks for doing this, bro.
Pleasure being here, man.
I know you were a little against it at the beginning.
Yeah. First thoughts was like, man, I don't know if I'm a worthy guest.
Man, why do you think you're not a worthy guest?
No, that's just the first thought that came to mind, but it was, it's a little nerve-wracking podcast. Whoa,
Yeah.
But I've learned to chase that feeling of discomfort and challenge, and I knew it was the right call. And frankly, I'm honored to be here. So
hey, man,
thanks for having me.
I'm honored to have you, bro. Yeah. You're a hell of a dude, and I'm grateful for the friendship and again the time, man. I know time is a valuable thing that we don't get a lot of, so I appreciate you giving me some of yours to chop it up for the people.
Sure, man. Thank you.
We'll get into the super fun shit, which is yesterday we ran a fucking marathon. How you feeling today?
Man, really sore. A little better today. Yesterday, you remember I was wobbling everywhere.
You were a little wobbly, yeah.
But one thing's for sure, I'm never making fun of runners ever again. As of today, it's one of the most difficult things I've done in my life.
Yeah?
Physically, it was really challenging. Yeah.
I told you running's hard, bro.
It really is.
I was not just caking that shit up for fun. Running is not it, man. I mean, actually, I think it's very it, but it's tough, man. Yeah, I told you it's hard, and it's one of those things that can, just very easily go underappreciated. It's like, oh, it's just this thing people do. Excuse me, but yeah, shit, man, it's tough. It's tough. Kind of talk to me, or for those people who don't know, I coached Danny through this train up for the run this time. Kind of tell us, you want to share with people what that was like from the training till leading up to race day itself, kind of emotions, feelings, physical discomforts as you navigated that. Kind of maybe share some of that.
Yeah, for sure. So I reached out to Austin and I told him, hey, I think I want to run a marathon, and he had mentioned it as well. I was on the fence about it. I ran a half marathon last summer in 2023, and it was like one and done. I was over it.
Yeah.
And then, after reading some books and putting some thought into it, and I knew it was calling my name. I knew I needed to do it. I needed to go for it and experience it. And reached out to you and decided to follow through with it. Thankfully, you welcomed me openly and you helped me out with the program.
Yep.
And initially, if you remember, I was telling you, hey, man, I just want to run as bare minimum as possible.
Yeah, you did.
Like 2 to 3 days. You're like, man, no, you need at least 4 to 5.
Yeah, I said, realistically, if you want to run a good marathon, you need 4 days.
Yeah.
And you're like,
I cringed at that.
I don't know if I want to do this.
Yeah. But
you did.
Yeah.
You took it on.
And at that time, I was running over there in Cyprus at Coast Crossing. I was at like 170 beats per minute at heart rate at an 11.5 minute pace.
You were not moving very quick.
Yeah, I was sitting at like 210 pounds.
Yeah.
Just sucking, dude. But fast forward to yesterday, I mean, the train up, it got more intense. I ended up realizing that I was slacking off. We bought the tickets. Yeah. It was real.
Let's not forget the caveat. You actually tried to buy the half marathon spot.
I did.
But they were sold out.
Yeah, I was like, you know what, man? I want to stay in the gym. Let's just do the half marathon.
And then your procrastination got you.
Absolutely.
Because you then you went to buy it and they were like, fuck, there's only full marathon spots.
It was meant to be, man.
And I said, I guess we're doing a full marathon then.
Yeah. Yeah, and then it got real. The day started coming closer. I was slacking on that initial plan, and I told you, hey man, I need to lock in, right?
Yeah.
I need to really re-engage this with the better perspective and really get the discipline on check. and you refined everything. And I think it was exactly 13 weeks. It was exactly 13 weeks out. You refined everything and you sent the plan. And for the most part, I did pretty good with the plan, except
the speed work.
Speed work.
You didn't want to do the speed work.
And looking back to it, especially not hitting my goal, which we'll cover here soon, but oh man, first thing I thought of when I crossed that finish line, I was like, I should have done speed work. I was just beating myself up for it, but
it'll haunt you for real though.
Yeah. But yeah, during that train up these past few weeks, life got a little busy. Not an excuse, but that was definitely a factor. Moving from Cypress, Texas to Hawaii. So that was a process. Then getting reintegrated with my current position at work. It was busy here and there, but for the most part, I was hitting the most of the easy runs and the long runs weekly. I experienced some really bad knee pain on my left knee that definitely held me back. And you were coaching me through that as well. But yeah, showed up yesterday.
How you feeling before the race? Like, what was your mindset? You were annoyingly hype in the morning yesterday.
I was.
You were. I was fucking hey, dude.
You weren't on that vibe.
I wasn't. My idea is just like, like it's time to go to work.
Yeah.
And I don't need to get hyped to go to work.
Yeah.
Like I just need to like set in mentally and make sure that I'm in the spot to be able to do what I've done. Like all the training's done. Like now it's just time to show up and do the thing. This is what we've done all the practice, all the reps for. Like this is like it's game day.
Yeah.
So my tone is usually kind of more serious on that morning. Before an event, you're more trying to like kind of get a little hype. I mean, everybody's got like a little, you even like among I heard Alex Hormozy and Chris Williams talked about this a little bit, but like how different champions have different like aspects to it. Like some are a little more goofy, some are a little bit like very serious, very demeanor, but that what's common is like they win. So it's like whatever way you like to go about it. I just kind of like to just be a little bit more serious about it. You were a little bit more amped up. Again, hey, looked like it was working for you. So I think it's also just knowing yourself. And if that's what does it for you, then hey, like ride that. For me, it's just about I just have to be very like clear and straightforward with myself about like what the expectations are, what's the goal. So that does kind of just naturally lead me to a more serious vibe by default. But you were amped up, man. Like it was fun to see.
Yeah.
It was a little annoying because I'm like, that's just the opposite of me, but it worked. And, but yeah, so like, anyway, what I was saying was, kind of like, what were your thoughts the morning of like, kind of, we're getting near the start line. It's about time. We're like, what were you feeling internally?
Initial thoughts internally, like, what did I get myself into?
There was a lot of fucking people, bro.
Yeah.
It was huge.
But to answer your question, as far as like being amped up, initially I was also, I didn't feel ready. I didn't feel ready. And that self-doubt kicked in big time. I didn't feel ready. I binged over Thanksgiving, which we talked about. So my food choices weren't the best. I gained a little bit of weight compared to, the cut that I was at. I was feeling kind of sluggish, and then sleep hasn't been the best. So I was just thinking of all the negative factors like, man, am I ready? Right. Yeah. So then as far as like being amped up, that's the type of energy I like to get into when I do something physically challenging.
Okay.
Right. Like if it's a PR.
Yeah.
Like I'm blasting some crazy music and I'm tapping in. Right.
Yeah. You had that Nipsey on.
Yeah. I had some Nipsey hustle on. Sometimes I get even darker with some metal or some some dark stuff. But like if I was alone, it would just be music, just myself, my thoughts. But probably wouldn't even said a word. Just tap in.
Yeah.
And similar mindset wise, similar to you, I think about everything. I visualize. I like to visualize.
Yep.
I was visualizing the finish line, and I kept saying in my mind, 4 hours. 4 hours.
Yeah.
I didn't get the 4 hours.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that. But
yeah, we missed the 4 hour goal by a little bit. Well, Danny did. I didn't miss it. No, that's not a diss. But no, he came up a whole 2 minutes short, which was still, as I said on my Instagram post today, still crazy impressive, man. And I know it sucks to not get the goal and to be upset about it.
Yeah.
But like kind of like what I told you last night at dinner, there's always more races. There's always another day to race. And you've never done this shit before, right? So a data point, because I believe they're fun to look at, is less than 1% of people run a sub 4 hour marathon on their first go. And you were 2 minutes away from that. So, again, you don't like your results. Well, there's another race to be had. So again, I'm extremely proud of you. I had told you in the coming weeks that, I had appreciated and felt confident in how I'd watched you train and how some of the the previous long runs went on that 20 miler, for example. Like I felt really good about where you were. I was proud about how your execution was despite moving and starting ROTC and everything. I was very happy with the level of discipline and the consistency you had showed towards the training, because I know that running again really had not been your thing. You were pretty adamant on not doing it. So I get it. I get the frustration, but really just be something I've talked a lot about here on the show is just like being able to be proud of yourself, and maybe not be proud, maybe because like, I don't know, there seems to be negative connotation to that with people, but like how your wife was, man, like, just that supportive, genuine, like loving, like kind of being able to give that to yourself too. Mm-hmm. Right. Because like you still did something you'd never done. Right. So it was a PR either way. You'd never done it. And that something wasn't easy. Something was hard and required weeks and weeks of discipline and effort and consistency behind it. So yeah, maybe the moment didn't go the way we wanted it by a couple of minutes, literally, but that was something that 13 weeks ago you wouldn't have done at all. Mm-hmm. Right. So it's like, it wasn't just, and I told you that I thought that the biggest thing with running from the beautiful side of it was just the ability to transform yourself. It was like the easiest way to physically see a change. Like 13 weeks ago, you wouldn't run a 4:02 marathon. Right. I said, 13 weeks ago, you would not have ran
absolutely not
a 4:02 marathon.
No, not
right?
At all. Yeah.
So to get to where we are now, it's like, oh shit, like, damn, okay, and like I can become this person who can do these kinds of things, and I think there's a mental power in that, because you can then like apply that to other things in your life. Yeah. Right. Like so for those people who don't know, Danny's in RTC right now. He's going green to gold. He's going from an enlisted to an officer. Like maybe you're at some point, gonna face doubts on, can I be a good officer? Can I lead in this manner now versus how I led before? Mm-hmm. And so it's like now you can pull upon those things. Like Ben used to say, pulling from that stack of proof. Like, hey, I've done this, I've done this, I've done that, I've done this, I've done that. Hey, okay, maybe I'm not someone right now who could be a great officer, but like in time I could be. Mm-hmm. Maybe in this section of my life, not applying it to you, but like maybe I'm not the best husband right now, but I could be. Mm-hmm. It's like I've been able to change myself here. Maybe I'm not in the socioeconomic status I want to be in, but I could be. Right? And I think like that's an empowering thing to see, and like you continue to like give yourself those, and over time it's kind of pretty. I think that's truly how we drive the changes in ourselves and how we become really the best version of us, is by just kind of pulling upon those little things. I know that's been a big thing for me throughout time.
Absolutely. I agree.
So, well, man, I am shotgunning this episode today quite a bit, if I'm really honest. My question prep was shit. I'll own my parts of it.
Man, we've been busy, man.
We have been busy. Yeah. And I had to, like I said, we're literally filming here on the fucking beach. Yeah. And where are we at? I don't even my brain's dead right now.
Yeah, we're on the west side of Oahu, Ko'olina.
Oh, yeah, Ko'olina. Yeah. Fucking A, man. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Here we are. We're in Ko'olina. Yeah, it's a beautiful day. It's a little hot right now. We're getting cooked by the sun, but fuck it, we're here. Just trying to do some crazy shit.
For sure, man.
I know you sent me some stuff over, so I like threw that in with my question stuff and kind of tried to mix it. Yeah. So I guess we're just gonna kind of navigate it. Let's talk a little bit about how you grew up. I know you're from will you tell people where you're from and kind of like how you grew up, and we'll go from there.
Yeah. So I'm born and raised. Well, I was born in Monterey, California, Central California, about an hour and a half south of San Francisco, and raised in this little city right next to it. It's a beach town called Seaside, California. I am first generation American. Okay. My mom is from Mexico, from a state in South Central Mexico called Oaxaca. Okay. Specifically, San Pablo, Oaxaca, Huixtepec, which is where they're from. Really rich culture, tied to like indigenous roots. Really, really festive and happy people. And that's how I was brought up with my mom's side. My father is from El Salvador. Okay. And he wasn't around. He left us when we were about 2 years old. But yeah, as far as like family dynamic and how we grew up, I was blessed to have a really, really fun childhood, really beautiful childhood, outside of like, trauma and being in the rough neighborhoods or whatnot.
We all get that though.
Yeah.
That's how you know you grew up right. You gotta have some trauma.
Yeah. But I was blessed to have a bunch of cousins, my uncles. And as far as like the culture where I was from, it was the influence for most of us who were all really first generation American was like from the Bay Area, right? So a lot of like, I guess you could say hood stuff, right? Like a lot of glorification of women, alcohol, drugs, selling drugs, you know, the usual stuff.
Kind of like we said at breakfast, selling drugs, selling pussy.
Yeah, yeah, some people were pimping out there, but not my family.
Yeah.
That I know. but yeah, that was funny.
So what did, so good childhood, but like you said, kind of absent dad. What did that, you and I've talked about that, but kind of what is, for those other people who maybe can relate to that, what kind of struggles did you face with that?
Yeah, so as far as not having a father, growing up, it was tough because it was weird, right? You'll see a family at the beach, for example, and you see a father, you see that relationship. For example, something simple like a kid playing catch with his dad. Mm-hmm. Man, I wonder what that's like. You know, I wish I had that father to teach me how to fish, how to play catch, how to play sports, how to be a man. You know, which is not something that I understood until recent years that I became a man, that I'm, you know, an adult. But as a kid, not understanding that, it was a sense of wanting to be loved, because I felt like I wasn't. Right? Why did he leave? You know. And as I grew up, I felt like that caused me to rebel a bit.
Yeah.
Thankfully, though, my mother is an amazing mother. She really is. She took care of us really, really well.
Yeah.
Like I was telling you before, it was almost like she was a little too soft.
Yeah.
And I love her for it. I love her to death, but there's only so much a mom could do raising young, crazy boys, you know?
100%.
So that led to me finding that void, if you will, in the streets.
Yeah.
Bad crowds.
Yep.
Doing stuff that I shouldn't be doing, you know?
Mm-hmm.
That's something that really I dealt all the way up until I joined the Army, actually.
Yeah.
And then that led into me, I guess, you know, looking back at it now, I would idolize the wrong crowd, as I mentioned, right? And then joining the Army, you know, that led into being exposed to different worlds and being, especially in the infantry, being with, you know, being surrounded with men that I looked up to and stuff, right? So yeah, man.
So kind of, you said a lot there. So yeah, I mean, I definitely can. I mean, there's a lot of people out there who unfortunately grew up without a father. So that like you said, that what's the right word there? I don't know. I think idealization is not a real word, but like, or the ideology of like, oh, that I'm someone to connect to. I have that man to show me how to be a man. I've got somebody to play catch with. I got somebody to just be my dad. Yeah, I think it definitely is. It's necessary for us as men, right? Because it's like, how else do you get shown the ropes? Like, how do you know what's right or wrong? Mm-hmm. How do you know what you should or shouldn't do? Like, if you don't have someone to kind of help paint that picture for you a little bit. But you know, it's definitely paramount for us. So kind of since you didn't have that, what were some? I mean, you said you know didn't really start really truly getting it. I know we've discussed it, but when you said you know, finding it in the Army and like men you admired, one, but kind of growing up and you said, you know, looking to those not so healthy alternatives or healthy crowds per se, for example, maybe what were some other more positive examples that you did have?
Yeah.
Like, did you have anyone like that? I think you told me your uncle, right?
Yeah, for sure. So from I was a kid until about 6 years old, and throughout my whole childhood, it was my grandfather. My grandfather's a G, man. Yeah. I love that, man. Like my work ethic, a lot of personality traits comes from like my grandfather, my uncles who were there, my mom's brothers, various uncles, just really, you know, amazing men, hardworking men. You know what I mean? And they were a huge impact in my life. I love them all to death. Yeah. Then when I was 6 years old, my mom met my stepfather, and I feel like he was the first real like father figure that I had. And to this day, like, you know, he's still with my mom. He raised us, man. That is my father. Yeah. Amazing man. He, you know, would teach us how to play soccer. He was there. He was present. He would take care of my mom. So that really set a good example for me as I was growing up. You know, from 6 years old to teenage years. And, you know, when I remember the day we met him, my mom asked us permission. It's like, hey, you know, this is him. I want to take him serious, you know, and be our boyfriend. We were just excited, man. We were super excited.
Yeah, just to have another guy around.
Yeah.
This was you, your brother, and
just me and my brother.
Yeah,
me and my brother. My brother's a year younger than I am, and then that's when. And then my stepdad had 2 kids,
Okay.
My stepbrothers and my stepsister, and we clicked right away, man. We all just got along so well. And then that really changed like the direction of our life. Before we were kind of, in these little like project type apartments. And then they got together, life got better. We got a house in like the upper part of town. It was just life was good. We would go out every weekend, go out Sundays. It was just a different life, man. And I'm so grateful for that experience. Yeah. And so grateful for having him in my life, for sure.
Hell yeah. And then to that time period of you growing up and whatnot, would you say you were a bad kid growing up? Like you got in a lot of trouble?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. What like kind of give us some examples or something of that?
Yeah. As a kid, right, tying it with my stepfather. Eventually we got to like the teenage years, just being jerks. Got to the point where like, man, you're not my dad. Who are you? Who are? Yeah, I know that hurt him. I feel so bad for it. And ever since like that period, and my brother and I, were crazy. We're just always fighting, always brawling, always being in the streets. And we just started hanging out with the wrong crowd. As early as like 5th grade. It was also the influence, as I mentioned, and we were, influenced by our peers, and our older cousins wanted to be like them. So, we were in the streets. Mom would call us. We would ignore her call. Hang out with our friends, our homies, right? Wouldn't come home. Go to parties, ditch class, and just think that was a cool thing to do. And that affected our whole academic life as well. I ended up.
You told me you dropped out, right?
Yeah. So just emotionally, man, I was all over the place. I didn't know how to handle emotions. I was angry a lot.
Yeah. What do you think that anger was driven by?
I believe it was tied to not having a father as well. I had like that. I didn't like that issue with authority. You know what I mean? I thought it was cool to be the kid to ditch class, to not do the work, be the class clown. You know?
You think that was maybe to kind of fill that that need for attention that maybe you felt like you weren't getting?
Yeah, I do believe so.
Okay.
Even as I got older, that's something I had to really face.
Yeah.
But that's what I thought was the thing to do, right? Get the money, get the girls, get the car, get the materialistic stuff.
Yeah. What'd you find when you got some of that stuff?
It meant nothing.
Yeah.
It was meaningless. I remember at one point, I think I was like 16. I got my money up a little bit, bought some shoes, ended up getting my first car. Thought I was a man,
Yeah.
We ended up, it was funny. It was with some buddies of mine, and this back alley was like a hangout spot. Cops showed up. We all just booked it, right? So we started running. And those brand new shoes I bought, ruined. Right? Everything that I bought with that money that I made, like everything was ruined. Right? And I took care of everything. But, looking at it now, it's just a lesson. Like those material things meant nothing. Yeah. And getting stuff the wrong way is not the best way,
100%. Yeah, you and I talked about that topic the other day with the Rolex.
Yeah.
And that's a story I'll painfully tell as many people as will listen, because, I equivocally thought, once I get this, or I can afford that, or I make this much money, that I'll have this happiness, that I'll have this joy, that I'll have this fulfillment in my life. And man, the sad truth is that's unfortunately not how it goes at all. Right? Like you have to be able to give those things to yourself, right? You have to be able to give yourself that grace and that gratitude and that love, or anyone else giving it to you externally is kind of just gonna not really fulfill you in that way, right? Because you're going to be denouncing it from your internal point of view. You're going to be like, no, I don't deserve that. I'm not worth that. And then, but the same thing with the stuff. Like you get the stuff and you're still like, man, fuck. Like you're like, well, maybe if I get more stuff, or nicer shoes, or a better car, or a better bitch, right? Like it's always like, I need more to increase the quantity of the thing. And it's like, I still just you, man. And I think, like, imagine being the person who like spends their whole life pursuing what they think will find eventual happiness, and money, or girls, or in a certain type of clothes, or a house, or a car, right? And you work so hard to get all that stuff. Like, I mean, it doesn't just come into your lap, right? Or fall into your lap, rather. Like you have to work extensively at it, and just to get all of it and still realize you're still just as empty as you were. Like that's gotta be fucked. Yeah. So when people ask me like, oh, like would you trade it or would you do it differently? I'm like, hey man, like I'm glad it was just 10 grand on a watch. you know?
Yeah.
To spend years of my life and thousands or millions of dollars, like, you know, to only realize that it's still just you. Like imagine the mind fuck that is.
Yeah.
Like you're sitting, you make couple hundred million bucks. Like you can afford to do anything and everything you want in the world. And like when you sit down at night, you still hate yourself and you're still alone.
That's tough, man.
Yeah.
It's tough.
And then, but then now it's almost like you're on the flip side of the problems. It's like now you can't even bitch about it because now you got money and you got all the shit. So people don't want to take you serious. Yeah. They're like, yeah, what are you complaining about?
Yeah, that's true. You know, they say like money can't buy happiness.
Yeah.
I believe that. And then they'll say, but I'm crying to my Ferrari or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
But no, I mean, money is a tool.
Yeah.
You know, like we deserve abundance.
No, 100%.
We all do. And like you said, what's more important is finding that abundance in yourself first. Mm-hmm. Tapping into who you are, who you want to be, and doing it for the right reasons.
Yeah.
Because as you know, like fame, money, it will amplify only who you are.
Yeah.
And I do believe that. Yeah,
if you're a shitty person, money just makes it so you're shittier.
Yeah.
Yeah. They say money doesn't change anything, it just changes everyone around you.
Yeah.
So like who you are with money is the same motherfucker you were when you didn't have it.
Absolutely.
You know, if you're a generous dude, if you're a kind dude, like that's who you'll be when you have some money. Yeah. If you're a stingy, selfish motherfucker, like you're just gonna be more stingy and more selfish.
So say all the guys that win, you know, millions overnight with the lottery.
Yeah.
Almost all of them lose it right away.
Yeah, because they're still the same person.
Yeah.
Right. I think that's the paradox of having to earn things, right? Is because you have to become, it's like with running, you have to become someone who can run a 4-hour marathon, right? Yeah. You have to become someone who can make, manage, and keep millions of dollars. Mm-hmm. You know, like, man, even if 10 years ago, 5 years ago, man, if you'd have handed me a fuckload of money, bro, I'd have blown it. Broke.
Same.
Done.
Yeah.
Right? You know, just on the wrong shit. So it's like, it's not just the thing you're chasing, it's the version of you that can handle those kinds of things, that can make that kind of money, that can manage that kind of money.
Absolutely.
Right? Because anybody can make some money, but can you keep it? Mm-hmm. So, no, man, a lot of truth there. So without having, you know, essentially, I guess, you know, that real dad, you had your stepdad, but that you know, that why wasn't my dad present? I think a lot of people will try and kind of butt you on that and be like, oh, but you had your stepdad around. But it's like, man, I mean, and that's something. It's not nothing, but there's still like a void in you, you know, like, why didn't the motherfucker stick around? What was wrong with me?
Yeah.
You know, and so maybe those people who do have a dad or whatnot, or maybe who never had a male figure positively impact them, you know, there's still some negativity to it. You know, that can be present. So not trying to, I guess, not acknowledge that for what it is. But I've seen you the last few days, you know, and I've gotten to know you pretty well over the last little more than a year. So we've known each other, and you have some good, not some good. Like let me not downplay it. You have some very admirable characteristics of a man that I find appealing. Right, not on some gay shit, but just on some like genuinely I admire it. Seeing it on another man, like I look at how you treat your wife, and I really respect that and admire that a lot. And so I guess my thought is like, if you didn't have, like, where did you get those kind of traits? Like, you know, I mean, we talked about how you started looking to like leaders in the army that you saw, like, that's the kind of man I want to be. But you've been with your wife a long time. Yeah. I mean, maybe this is something you didn't always do and you've started doing recently. But from what I can see, dude, you're one of the most solid dudes I know collectively. So, like, where did you kind of learn some of those characteristics?
First of all, thank you. Those are kind words. I appreciate that.
Bro.
I think, you know, even when I was a kid and I would see all these bad examples, even in the family, right, with the culture, a lot of alcoholism, a lot of, you know, with the friends and everything. I always had that feeling, that moral compass, if you will. I just knew it was wrong.
Yeah.
You know, and I believe because I wasn't sure in myself, I wasn't confident in myself. I just never really listened to it. I put that in the backseat, you know, and I did what I thought was cool. Mm-hmm.
But it always kind of bothered you, though.
It did. It did. And really, that's not something I fixed until I was around like 24, 25 years old. Okay. I'm 29 now, and I just was sleepwalking through life, you know?
Yeah.
But to go back to your question as far as like where that came from, I think it was, I met my wife so young, you know, she was 16 going on 17, I was 17. And since the day we met, man, we just clicked. Like, she was my rock, man. She was everything. And, you know, and then I joined the army, you know, actually, you know, we both were supposed to join, but, you know, she sacrificed that, and she sacrificed a lot. She got accepted to like every college she applied to. And honestly, that was a big like wake up call for me as well. You know, when we met, I was, you know, messing around in the streets and had a job at a fine dining restaurant, thought I was a man, and here I meet this girl, you know, same upbringing, same background, same hood, and she's just extremely intelligent. Got accepted to every college she applied to, and I remember we were talking, right, and we were feeling each other, and then she was like, "What are you gonna do? Like, what's your plan?" I was like, "My plan?
Fuck's that?
I'm gonna stay here and stack bread." You know, like, what do you mean? What's our plan?
What was that? A plan?
Man, like sometimes, like especially in the past years, I didn't want to give her credit for it, right?
Just jokingly, prideful.
But yeah. But no, man, she's been so impactful in my life, and I'm just so grateful for her, man.
Mm-hmm.
She's everything to me, and I'm just truly blessed to have an amazing partner as her. And as far as learning how to treat her, you know, that
something you built over time, or
built over time.
Okay,
built over time. I always knew be a gentleman, right?
Yeah,
I always knew that. Thankfully, I had an amazing example of a mother in my life, or a woman in my life, which was my mother.
Yeah.
Again, she was just everything you could imagine a mother to be. She was it, right? Except maybe the discipline part. Like I said, she was a little too soft.
Yeah, but I mean, I think that's what like kind of we've discussed that though a bit this weekend, is that, you know, that's not, like, women can't do that. I mean, they can, you know, like you can almost, but I think if it is, it's almost in a negative manner, right? I say it's not the default. I think I've seen a lot of, you know, as I've talked about a couple times on this show, like the question about like, where have all the men gone? You know, like where are the real men hiding in society? Right? As there seems to be this lack of men willing to truly step into their proper, I guess you'd say, maybe it'll catch some hate, but their proper role, you know, of being the husband, being the father, being the leader, you know, and like I view it as like, you know, it's my job to like to provide, to dole out the ass whooping when it's necessary, even if that shit didn't happen on my time. You know, like I'm like, that's my job, you know. And I tell my son's mom all the time, like, hey, I don't need you doing that. Like, I'll handle it. You call me, I'll come over there, I'll bust his ass, you know, because like that's not what you need to be doing. Like, I need you to like love him, care for him, you know, like do all that, not to like that woman stuff, you know, like that's what I need from you. I need the mothering, the nurturing. I need that. I'll be the enforcer. I'll be the asshole. He can dislike me all he wants for right now.
Yeah.
You know, like that. I feel like that's my job, you know, kind of like you said, just kind of that moral compass per se, like pointing me in that direction. That's kind of what I've always felt, you know, and like you mentioned there too, whether it be like lack of self-confidence or belief in myself to maybe let that all come to the surface. But yeah, that's always what's been there for me. You know, like that's always what I felt the most compelled to do, deliver, provide, and be that kind of person, despite whatever challenges may have been present. But yeah, man, no, I think that's good. I was just curious because, yeah, like I said, I really have found a level of admiration and respect in how I've just seen you like navigate just basic things with Elvia the last few days, and I'm like, damn, that's dope.
Thank you.
Like, man. I already knew you were a good ass dude, but you know, just seeing you carry yourself in that way, I was like, damn, all right, cool. Like, damn,
it's been a long time coming, man.
Yeah.
I think these past few years have been some of the best for us, but facing that trauma, digging deep, and you know, digging into those archives of my life and exploring why I felt the way I did with my dad leaving, right? And as I mentioned earlier, emotionally, I was all over the place, right? Just emotionally illiterate. I would react to everything. It's really sporadic, really angry, even with her, you know. And I had to face that. You know, I had to face that because you continue brushing things under the carpet, right? That carpet's going to overflow and seep into your life and affect every branch of your life, right?
Yeah.
And it definitely was. You know, it's a really kind of like just lazy kid, man.
Yeah.
You know, like I had the work ethic when it came to work, but for myself and what I wanted to do, I was just a chubby little kid that just wanted to consume.
Yeah.
Right. Video games is a big thing, even as an adult, which that's something I don't even play video games anymore, but nothing wrong with that. But for myself, it's just, I would overdo it. Food was a big thing.
Yeah, but, man, I think what you said there, is like learning to, I call it like responding rather than reacting.
Yes.
I need to respond to what happens around me. I don't need to react to it.
Yeah.
You know, and again, like between whatever you got going on in your life, it's not always easy to deliver that, right? It's actually, requires a lot of effort and work, and you're still going to fail at it, right? Like I think a lot of people want to paint this idea that once I start making the effort to this, I'll never fuck up again. So, I mean, you're still just a person, like you're flawed. But just trying to lead with that intention of I want to do the right thing. I want to be more genuine. I want to be more aware. I want to be more kind. I don't want to react like a piece of shit. I want to be able to respond. Is huge there. Yeah, that's a big one. But I'm glad that you're like, you know, continuously progressing towards that. Shit, I should have wrote more down because there was a lot there I wanted to say. Fuck.
Actually, I want to continue answering that question of like,
go ahead. Yeah.
Where did I get those traits from? Right. So as I continued down that path in personal growth, personal development, started realizing all my flaws. Right. I started reading books. Really impactful book that I really liked was The Way of the Superior Man.
Yeah, you told me that.
What I believe his last name is. Amazing book, man.
Yeah, you told me to read it.
Book.
Yeah.
I cannot recommend that enough, especially dealing with relationships and women, right? Amazing book. And just learning stuff like that, and also what masculinity means to me, right? I just knew I didn't have that as a kid. Yeah. I was kind of like a timid, soft kid growing up, and I always had like that self-confidence when it came to like, you know, being in school, talking, you know, just smoking and joking with my friends and stuff. I always had that self-confidence, which I believe I learned from my family, my Mexican side and stuff. Yeah. But behind that, deep inside, I was this insecure little kid, man, that just didn't know, you know. But once I tapped into that and I started learning what masculinity means to me, I learned that the most rewarding and fulfilling thing for me as a man is taking care of my own. Yeah. And that starts at home with my wife. There's nothing I love and enjoy more than loving and taking care of my wife. Knowing that she's set. Knowing that she could be her best self because I got her. Yeah. And for years I didn't. You know, and with her story and her upbringing, it was, you know, she had some stuff she had to deal with. Like she was forced to be masculine, you know? And we would bump heads all the time. But as we both developed together and, you know, influenced each other to get better, life just got better. Life got easier. And of course, like any regular relationship or marriage, we have our ups and downs, and you know we want to just kill each other at times. But for the most part, we're on the same page that we just want to enjoy life together and be the best versions of ourselves.
Heck yeah, man. Yeah. And kind of what you said it there again, and it helped me remember is, you know, like with the sweeping under the rug portions of our life, you know, it like what I told you about like the minefield things. Like you always know where your shit's at. Yeah. Because if you didn't, it would just blow up in your face all the time. For sure. So when people are like, I don't know where to like look to get better in my life, I'm like, you sure about that? Because you're avoiding every bit of it every day. So you know exactly where it's at. Yeah. Because if you didn't, you couldn't avoid it. So for anyone who's kind of out there thinking like, I don't, you know, like I want to turn my life around, I want to do better, but I'm not sure where to start. Like, man, just sit on the edge of your bed and think about it. Like, you know exactly where all the problems or all the pitfalls in your life are. And you know how to avoid them every day, so that you don't have to deal with them, so that you're not forced to manage them and have to actually acknowledge the problems and try and improve from them. But yeah, man, I think that's well said there. And knowing one, like the other the portion of the conversation that I've had a lot with you and just collectively recently is tied to just, you know, knowing yourself. So then knowing that that's what you enjoy and, you know, being able to provide her that, you know, and who you want to be. Those are all pivotal to actually making them happen. I say like, my last question on this one is there any like specific moment, you know, kind of like what you asked me the other day, is there a specific moment that kind of really ignited your desire to change and help overcome some of those like kind of like as you mentioned there, kind of just being on autopilot or asleep, you know, sleepwalking through life, like they really, you were like, you know, like I gotta get it together, you know? Or was it kind of like what I said is like, you know, this was kind of more of like, in some areas it was more of a progressional thing. Yeah.
As far as a specific moment, like a one event, for me, no. I think it was just a compounding, you know, of experiences, right? Since I was a kid. And I would just ignore it, you know? Like, I think the first time I felt that was when I was working at that fine dining restaurant. And, you know, where I'm from, you know, there's a lot of immigrants, right? Yeah. A lot of our people. And it's a great career, great job, right? It really is. But I took a look around my peers and I saw, you know, people that were there for years. And I started thinking about my life. I started thinking about what I want. Do I really want this, right? And again, it's not knocking them for it. It's an amazing career. It's an amazing life, but it just wasn't for me. You know, since I was a kid, I was really into like Discovery Channel, right? One of my uncles would always watch Discovery Channel. And I just loved being outdoors. I loved just daydreaming about traveling, right? Mm-hmm. And I just knew there was more out there than my current situation. And that's where that moral compass came into play, right? So that was like the first time in my life I was like, okay, I don't want this. This isn't who I want to be. I need to do something different.
Yeah.
Right? And then that led into eventually me joining the Army, which was probably the best decision I ever made in my life.
Yeah.
And I was still sleepwalking though. And I think a big part of that is I was busy. I was, deployed, right? We'll probably talk about that later, but my whole like first half of my 20s, we were just gone. We were training, and I didn't really have time to focus on everything else, even myself. It was just the task at hand. And then when I was around like 24, 25, that op tempo kind of slowed down.
Yep.
And everything just started coming to light. My wife and I were bumping heads. I felt like I wasn't doing enough. I was just staying up all night playing video games, eating junk food, getting fat, which is something I dealt with since I was a kid.
Yeah.
And I just looked at myself like, man, what am I doing?
Yeah.
Like I need to change. I need to do something different. And
for sure.
Going down that journey eventually led to starting to reading books, surrounding myself with individuals that I want to emulate instead of being around people that really weren't challenging me to grow, and I didn't understand it, back then, but I was always easily influenced by my surroundings, and my friends and my peers. I wanted to be just like them, and I think it's because I didn't have that strong identity within myself, who I was and who I wanted to be. So I never bothered to explore that. I was comfortable. I just was, but learning to take action and learning that I can change who I want to be, that was paramount to my success in growth as a man.
Yeah.
And as you know, it's a never ending journey, man.
It is, man.
Yeah.
I had thought for a while that maybe one day I would just like wake up and be like, you know what? Got it all figured out. I'm good to go.
Yeah.
I'm chilling. And I wouldn't even say sadly. I think it's almost relieving more really to know that like actually it'll never really be over.
Yeah.
There's always more to me than what is currently present. Like there's always more of a man that I could become. There's always better things I could do. There's always a better way to speak, a better physique to have, more success in the career to achieve. Like there's always more there, and if you want to find out how good you could be at any of that, like the only way to find out is to pursue it.
Yeah.
And kind of like I mentioned to you, similar to you, it's like I always knew that there was more out there, right? I always told you that like my curiosity is the lead domino, if you will, in anything that happens for me. Mm-hmm. The fact that I'm curious about like why maybe did we not have money growing up, and well, how do you get money? And, why do other people have more money than us, right? So like, it wasn't from a lack of gratitude for the things we did have. It was just I see that there's more out there, and I want to know how you can get to that. Like, is this like a caste system? We're like bound to be poor and broke, and not have anything, or if I do certain things and change my behavior and change the way I think and change the way I live my life, like, could I also too have those things? And I was like, oh shit, like this isn't like a set game, like the it's on you as the player, but like you can have as much as you want. Mm-hmm. You can be as good as you want to be, like, but like you said, they're like knowing yourself and knowing how much you want, like you say, who wants money? Like everybody's going to put their hand up. Everybody wants some money, right? Yeah. Who's willing to do hard work to get money? Like hands go down.
Right.
Who wants to be in shape? Right. The hands back up. Who wants to do hard work to stay in shape? Hand goes back down. Right. But I don't know, to me, it's just like, well, if that's the only cost, like, then why the fuck are you like, I know what the alternative option is. Doesn't really do me a whole lot. So, no, man, I can relate heavily to a lot of those ideas in that perspective. So let's move into the Army piece. So you said, you thought the Army was the best choice you made. How did the Army shape kind of, one, your perspective of men, but like you said, you thought it was the best choice you made. Like, why do you feel that way now?
Yeah. So initially, as far as, I'm going to get to answer the whole question, but when it came to joining the Army, or really just the military, especially the way we girls like so anti-government, right? Like I would never join.
Yeah.
F this, F that. not me. But one day, senior year, I saw the recruiters. They got my ass, bro.
Gotcha.
I saw the recruiters, man, and I've always been really into, like war movies, soldiers. Just always loved it as a kid. Always loved the video games. Always loved the action figures.
Yeah.
It was actually funny. Recently, my mom sent me a drawing I did in like preschool, and it was like a battlefield of like World War II.
You were hooked.
Yeah, I was in it, but
same though, like same. Yeah, that was like I love that shit growing up.
I loved it, man. Like it was funny. I had like soldiers like ripped in half and blood everywhere and stuff. It's pretty gruesome.
Yeah, but you understood how it worked.
My preschool little art project.
They're a little concerned about you.
Yeah, it's funny, but
you think? Sorry,
go ahead.
Do you think that maybe that? I mean, I'm now thinking about this for me as well, but you think that was mainly kind of your interest in that? Because maybe you saw that ideal figure in what you thought a man was there. You saw that kind of protector, hero-ish vibe from a soldier. Maybe not even consciously. Yeah. It was subconsciously. You were kind of related to that, and so maybe that's kind of what pulled some interest in you. Is like you saw these dudes, like, damn, that dude's just like going and kicking the door in and shooting the bad guy in the fucking face. Like, man, I want to be brave. I want the courage. I want the characteristics that these individuals appear to have.
Yeah.
And so maybe that's like initially what
I've never thought about that, but yeah, that's spot on. I saw him eat. I don't remember his name, man, but dude was jacked, right? Stood tall, really well spoken, really respectful. I was like, man, that's cool. I want to do that. Yeah, I would say that's pretty spot on, man. Sure.
So more to the Army being the best choice, and kind of what how that you've just shared with me a few stories on how you found leaders that you really admired, and looked to like kind of get that idea of help paint the picture for what kind of man you wanted to be in certain aspects of your life.
Yeah, so ended up joining, right, and everyone was telling me not to. They said don't do it.
Even your mom, right?
Yeah. Yeah, everyone wanted me not to, and I understand, right? My family dynamic really tight knit, really close. Yeah, everyone was telling me not to, but I was going to do it anyway, right? And the initial job I had just didn't work out at MEPS or whatever, and I wanted infantry, and it was in the back of my mind. I really wanted, but I was compromising for everyone else. Thankfully, it didn't work out for that job, and I had to go the next week because it was like a medical thing. And out of all the options that were left, infantry was the best one. I was like, this is a no-brainer. It's meant to be, right? And I joined the infantry. And specifically with the infantry, I was immediately exposed to, hey man, you have to be the best, right? Yeah. In order to perform and in order to survive and in order to execute, you have to have a certain mentality, a certain mindset, and a certain work ethic, right? Because you can be a role player and you can be chill or whatever, right? But you're just being one of the soldiers. But to be a leader, you have to step up. And I saw that instantly, even at basic training and with the drill sergeants, all Iraq veterans, we're coming up on 30, so fuck, bro. Yeah. And I was like, man, I want to be like those guys. And then getting to my leadership once I got to my unit, hard chargers, and like I feel like for the first time in my life, I was exposed to an environment where it was a world of men, right? Men with working together, right? Exercising, training, fighting to accomplish a task.
Yeah.
And for the first time in my life, it gave me a sense of purpose, a sense of direction, and a mission, something to work towards and accomplish. And it exposed me to failure.
Yeah.
Yeah. It exposed me to taking a lot of L's, man, and getting me comfortable with taking those losses.
Have to.
Yeah. That's probably the biggest thing, right? Because like you're moving forward, man. We were never stagnant. There was always something going on, right? And I feel like for those reasons and the doors that opened for me, that's why it's the best decision that I've ever made to this day. I have such a tremendous amount of respect for servicemen, veterans. I truly, truly enjoyed my experience. I've had an amazing experience, and I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for that decision. I like to believe, like, if I would have stayed back, I would have been successful. And, my pride would like to say that, right? But the way it played out. You don't know. Man, yeah. The way it played out, it was an amazing decision, and I'm so grateful for it,
Yeah. So you said there that, you had the, Jesus Christ, that fucking win, boy. This will be a fun one to fucking undo. You mentioned those losses. Kind of what kind of can you give a few context on what you mean by that?
Yeah. So, like, making mistakes in training was one of the big ones.
Oh yeah,
which I would do a lot.
Oh, it's a walking fuck up, bro.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. And in the infantry, man, you're not gonna hear the end of it.
Oh, never, bro.
Yeah, you're gonna get chewed out, right?
Right there.
Depending on the leader too, right?
Degraded, borderline, boy.
Thankfully, I had tough skin growing up with my family, right? I always had tough skin.
I did not.
Yeah.
I was a little bitch, bro.
Well, I had tough skin in the sense where like I could shoot the shit, right?
Oh yeah, I could shoot the shit.
And shoot it back. But at the end of the day, it's like, damn.
But that shit, lived in my head, bro. Ate me the fuck up. Like that shit had me feeling some type of way personally.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, no, bro. I was a lot more of the said sensitive about that shit, man. But no, I think that if I look back on my, because you and I kind of seem to have a similar outlook or take on how we got to where we are, and I can say holistically that for me it was like it was. I mean, the losses are mandatory to get the wins.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I think the Army, like when people say, how can you like navigate a stressful scenario or whatnot, I really unfortunately I have to give it to the Army because, did you ever as like a private get, like you have to like give a class on how to work a weapon system or something?
Yeah.
Bro, and you don't know what the fuck you're doing.
Yeah.
And then people are just like fucking shit talking you from the side or figure it the fuck out, so it's like, like you can't, like you have to, you're just forced to overcome it in that moment.
For sure.
Right. And, I think that the Army gave me a lot of that of like just overcoming shit. Like I'd have to get over it. I have to get over my fear or my uncertainty or my doubt or like my imperfections on how I spoke or how I thought or my indecisiveness. Like something I like have to get on my son about all the time is being insanely indecisive. Like, what do you want to eat? Oh, will this? No, just, do the Army. They'd be like, the fuck do you want?
Yeah.
Like you didn't have the time to, so like a lot of these things now where people are like, man, you're kind of like almost brashly annoying. You're so to the point or so direct or so whatever. I'm like a lot of that came from the Army for me, just on time to available options to make a choice and forced growth, right? Like, hey, get in front of the whole fucking company and show us how to work the Mark 19 today.
Yeah.
Fucking new booty. Let's see it. And you don't know what the fuck you're doing. And so they're going to like grill the fuck out of you. And, but you're going to learn because of that. Mm-hmm. And it's only because of that you actually did learn. So it's like, I think a lot of these traits that we want and admire or seek like out of life, it's always like maybe the route to get them isn't always like what you thought, because like maybe it's because we're kids and we're dumb, but like when you look at that soldier you said you saw and you were like, oh, like I want to be like that. You probably didn't think like, damn, I have to lift heavy weights all the fucking time. You go to the gym all the time, like like 4, 5, 6 days a week sometimes. Like you can't just get it and keep it.
The first time I ever lifted weights was in the Army.
Yeah,
but I didn't even know what it was.
What?
I went to the gym once. My brother was like, he's in football and stuff.
Yeah.
These dudes were benching 185. Bro, I almost messed up, tore my shoulder off. It's like, never again, right? I'm going to just stick to the video games and smoke and joke,
This ain't for me. Yeah. It's a no for me, dog.
Yeah, so man, it exposed me to a whole new world. And, I strongly believe that for anyone, you should leave home.
Yeah, dude.
You should leave home. You should leave your environment. You should take trips.
I think it's because that's when you find out who you are.
Yeah.
Like when there's not mommy or daddy there or your friends or your family, like when you're alone in a space you don't know about, I think it's the same thing and an inverse way to like create this is like traveling.
Yeah.
Traveling alone. Like go to some fucking other country that you've never been, where you don't know anybody and watch how you act. Watch your behavior. Are you kind or are you kind of an asshole? Are you open and conversational or are you more closed off? Do you keep your routine? Like that's who you are.
Yeah.
And I think like the Army is another way, like you're away from everyone you don't know these people, like who are you?
Definitely. I think it was Ryan Holiday that said this, in order to have a point of view, you got to do shit.
Yeah. Like
you have to go experience stuff.
Yeah.
Get uncomfortable. Go out there and experience something new. And I love that. And that's what led to me learning more about like Stoic philosophy, which really resonated with me. That's why, and it's because the way I was brought up, right? I didn't have that father. I was looking in the wrong directions. But then reading the proper books, finding stuff in like Stoic philosophy, right? Yeah. Authors that I really like, learning about masculinity and the healthy type, right? What that means to me, that helped me a ton. But going back on the Army and the losses, right? Another factor that was really significant for me is dealing with people, right? Because my culture, like my first language is Spanish. My culture, my accent in Spanish is all from that Mexican little part of Mexico where my family's from.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
That's all I knew, right? I think that's a big reason why I was such a fat kid, because I told you, dude, I used to daydream of like American culture. All I knew was Mexican culture. Now that I've been gone for 10 plus years, I miss it, right? But we always had just rice, bean, and tortillas at the house, traditional Oaxacan dishes, which I love, right?
Yeah.
But I craved more. I wanted more. I wanted to experience more. And I got that, right? And that was thanks to the army, but people and the upbringing in like, you know, that those rough neighborhoods it's a respect thing, right? You talk to me a certain way, you don't get punched, right?
Yeah, yeah.
It was really, really impulsive, really reactive to anger, right?
Yeah.
In the army, I had to check that. I had to.
Yeah, you can't do that shit.
You have to pick your fights, right? But at first it was tough, but you had to check that. I learned real quick. I had to change the way I spoke, right? The way I reacted to anything, right? So I was exposed to discipline. That was the biggest one, and temperance. I had to check my temper. Yeah. I had to practice resistance when it came to what my emotions were making me want to do, and also dealing with different people that I liked, people that I hated, terrible leaders, which you probably learned the most from.
I think you do, yeah.
Yeah. And then, of course, the good ones, the good ones that were so impactful and that you wanted to emulate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think you said there, it's like the idea of like, you can't learn from the negatives in your life is like, that's such bullshit. Like, that's actually where I think I've learned the most. People I don't want to be like leaders, friends, family, like looking at behaviors and going like, actually, that's not what I want to do.
Yeah.
Because I've seen what it causes. I've seen how this story plays out. Like, I don't need to rinse and repeat it for myself.
Yeah.
Like, those are the people I've really taken the most from. Like, the great leaders, like, they're great, but like, they just affirm what I already believe. Like, wow, if I actually show up and I'm not a piece of shit, like, people want to help me. People are willing to go out of their way to help me be the best and help me be better. Like, and wow, like, you talk to people kindly, like, wow, good fucking things happen to you. Like, not everyone hates you. Like, no, yeah, like, it's just, again, it's like when you get a good grade on the test. Like, you already knew the answers. Like, you gotta fail. You gotta like fucking hit the lesson you didn't study for, and like, oh shit, like, all right, I'm not as good as I thought I was. Like that those are the things that like you're gonna learn from. And like, blessed for the great leaders. But yeah, I'd argue sizably that people I've really learned the most from are anyone who really wasn't that great in my life, right? Whether that be a bad relationship or a bad leader or anything. Like, that's the times where I was like, I actually took stock of myself and like, am I showing up to this the best way I can? Am I doing the things that I need to do and want to do, or am I actually making this problem worse too? Like, man, this is, and that's why I'm so not unwilling, but there's limited people's opinion of something I'll take for like face value, because I'm like, I know the kind of motherfucker you are.
Yeah.
So it's like, is that person really that bad, or like, are you just an arrogant dickhead? So like, by default, the version of that other person that you're complaining about now is just a consequence of your behavior.
For sure.
Not that you're really that person sucks or there's anything wrong with them, but like, they wouldn't tolerate your shit.
Yeah.
So they checked you. And you're like, oh man, that motherfucker's an asshole. Like, or is it you're the asshole? Like, maybe it's just you. So that's always an interesting thing there. You think you have any like, minus what we said on the failure and the, obviously the looking for that ideal version of like kind of what you wanted to become? Is there anything you feel like profound ideas, lessons, values that you really took away from the army? You said discipline and temperance, but any others that really just that you kind of see impacting your daily life today?
Yeah, I believe where it was really significant for me is when I became a leader. Because when you're just a soldier, right? Hey, be here, asshole. Do this, do that.
Yeah.
All right, cool. But whenever you're in charge of soldiers, right? Whatever you say, whatever you do, they're watching you at all times.
Oh yeah, bro.
Right, and
it's like kids, bro.
Yeah, and you have to lead by example. You have to, right? And then learning how to be a good leader is another thing, right?
Yeah, bro.
Having good tact and being good in the field and overseas, yeah, sure, but understanding different personalities, being adaptive, putting their needs over yours, and truly caring for them, right? And I struggled with that at first because, especially growing up, right? Like, the mindset is like, hey man, like, can't be a little bitch, toughen up, let's go. And I always had that attitude and that mindset, especially in the infantry, and I love that. And I feel like I tapped into that way too much that it started becoming a little toxic in a way, a little negative.
100%. No, yeah. I think that infantry mindset is great in a lot of ways, but I think the unfortunate and almost like inevitable negative is like that you're almost guaranteed to be like the asshole leader at first. You're like, just the way we measure what a good leader is in the infantry even is like just set up for failure. Like, oh, that dude's dope at PT. I bet he could lead soldiers.
Yeah.
It's like, no, he just can run. Like, bro's an idiot. He don't know how to talk to anybody.
Yeah.
Like, he's got like a 28 IQ. Like, he's definitely probably not a great leader, you know? But again, I think, again, that's like, there's goods and bads to it, right? Again, it does breed a lot of great, but like anything, there's negatives. And yeah, just the manner in which we carry ourselves to kind of just almost sets it up for failure. Like, don't be a little bitch, don't be weak, don't feel anything. It's like, but really what makes a great leader is like when you can feel things, when you can empathize, and when you can understand and relate. You know, it's very rarely that a lack of empathy or understanding is going to make you a great leader, right? And again, but like by default, that like toughness, hardness, man the fuck up, don't be a bitch, you know, kind of mindset that really does, like, again, now when you're a little bitch, those things are great.
Yeah.
But when you're not a little bitch anymore, that mindset really just makes you more of an endearing asshole, unnecessarily too.
And it doesn't work for everyone.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah. You know, it can really bring people down and belittle people. And unfortunately, like, I didn't realize that, you know, and like I told you before, I love people, man. And the last thing I want to do is make someone feel bad. You know?
Yeah.
And I know I did a lot of that because I was so caught up in that mindset.
I think for me, it's like if I'm making someone feel bad and it's unnecessary.
Yeah.
You know, like if you fucked up, well, it's like, I'm not making you feel bad. Like, if anything, it's like I'm trying to bestow maybe or help you and find some accountability for, and cultivate understanding in the fuck up.
Mm-hmm.
I'd be like, that's not me. Whatever self-doubt or self-guilt you're bearing, like, well, you fucked up. There's a certain level of it that you should be bearing right now. Like, if you said, damn, bro, I'm going to run 4 days this week, and I hit you up and I go, hey, how'd those runs go this week?
Yeah.
And you're like, damn, bro, you're making me feel bad. No, motherfucker, you're making you feel bad. You didn't do the shit you were supposed to do.
Yeah.
That's not on me. I didn't say it. I said, hey, how'd those runs go?
Mm-hmm.
Right? So, like, again, I think, anyway, the intention there is, like, is it rooted in the right manner? Right? Like, am I really being a dick here? Am I messing you up? Or is your inability to do the things you said you were going to do, your ability to follow through, you know, you're creating your own, like, oh, I feel bad. It's like, well, then, hey, yeah, maybe you do need to feel a little bit bad so that you realize you shouldn't do that. Like, you should do the things you say. You should keep your word because there's more value in that than just you feeling bad.
Yeah. To add on to your initial question as far as values that I took from, you know, the army and leadership or being a man, right?
Yeah.
Outside of basic qualities, right, of a good leader, but the biggest ones for me that come to mind is being a servant leader, right? Lead to serve others.
Yeah.
And in order to do so, you have to hold yourself accountable.
100%.
Right? You have to lead by example. And one of my mentors once told me, he said, hey, you know, I think it's when I had just got promoted, and he told me, you know, what's the most difficult things leaders do or have to accomplish? And, you know, I was giving him a bunch of answers this and that. He's like, no, man, it's simple. He said, it's leading themselves.
Yeah.
That hit me, man. To this day, I think about that. Leading yourself, which I didn't really have to experience until, you know, these last 4 or 5 years ago when my career changed a little bit. It was more of an office setting, just myself. I didn't have soldiers to lead. There wasn't a PT plan.
Yeah. Just the one you created.
It was just myself.
Mm-hmm.
And man, I got fat. I got lazy. I got fat. It was a real gut check, you know, and that was a perfect example of it. You have to lead yourself. It starts with you, right? It's easy to bark orders. It's easy to check on others, but
how often are you checking on you?
You don't check on yourself.
Yeah. I think that's just a life lesson too. Is, you know, it can become easy to, you know, in your scenario where it's like, I went from I have soldiers to take care of, I have people to manage and oversee and whatnot, that, you know, it almost unintentionally kind of became this neglect to you. You're like, I don't need to check on me. If soldiers are good, I'm good. Right? I think this is kind of like another case of what we talked about the other day as well, which was like putting too much weight into any one thing. Right? So if you started overvaluing, oh, my soldiers are good, I'm good. Now you no longer have soldiers. And now who's checking on you? Now you have nothing to, I'm good if what?
Mm-hmm.
If I'm stuffing my face, if I'm kicked up and I'm comfortable, right? Like it becomes like anything. Like there's no intention. It's just floating in the wind to whatever.
Sure.
You know? I know that's just something to me that really, again, and maybe it was just like not even a conscious thing. Like, I think these things definitely can happen very unconsciously. And then we find ourselves in positions that we don't like or don't want to be in. That's just usually because it's driven by like a lack of intention or a lack of, you said, like being awake.
Yeah.
It's kind of like sleepwalking through it.
that was a really tough transition for me. Is the infantry, the operation tempo, right?
Yeah,
so busy.
Mm-hmm.
And when I had that career change, everything just stopped. The noise stopped.
Yeah.
Right? I was forced to listen to my own thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
But before that, it was go, go, go. This is the task. Do this. Check on this.
There's always a distraction.
Right? There's always a calendar. There's something to do, right?
Mm-hmm.
And your energy and attention was focused on everyone else and everything else, your soldiers, the task at hand, except yourself.
Yeah.
And that was around the time that I told you I was around 24, 25 years old, where it just hit, right?
Yeah.
And my wife, especially, I was never alone. I
Yeah,
was with the boys. And on the deployments, shooting the shit, right? Having a grand, amazing experiences.
Oh, yeah. The best.
And then with my wife, she was always there.
Yeah.
But then she had a really amazing career as well that required her to travel. Next thing you know, I'm alone.
Yeah.
Right?
Again, it's like, who are you?
Yeah. And I was still sleepwalking, man. Still sleepwalking. Autopilot.
Yeah.
Like, I would say this to my wife's little brothers. I've known this since they were like 6-5 years old. But, you have your own car. Do you want to ride bitch in your own car? Or you in the driver's seat?
You're driving, yeah.
For the longest, I was riding bitch, bro.
Yeah.
And I was forced to get to know myself.
Mm-hmm.
And it
was a scary thing, bro.
It was terrifying.
Yeah.
Absolutely terrifying. Especially when all I've known subconsciously is dodge it.
Yeah.
I was a glutton, bro.
Yeah.
To this day, and we were talking about it recently, right? To this day, it's something that I face, right? But overeating, over-consuming.
Yeah.
Just pursuing pleasure, right? And just running away and escaping from what I had to face, which were my problems, right? The archives of my life that I dug so deep into my mind. Yeah, just put it in a box, put it away, right?
Yeah.
But I had to face it. And thanks, it's all tied to that experience of being exposed to a whole new world, getting out of my comfort zone.
For sure.
And I do believe, the military life exposed me to that.
100%.
Yeah.
So kind of like, you've mentioned there that, you struggled with the eating. I mean, I knew that, but, and that, like you said, that pleasure, that enjoyment. How do you kind of, like, how have you, for maybe someone who also can maybe like relate to that and go like, man, fuck, that's me. I'm the fat kid. Like, I want to eat all the fat food and I want to be comfortable and I want to seek pleasure. Maybe if it's outside of food, maybe it's pleasure from women, like whatever their vice is, maybe it's not food, right? But like, if they're trying to also kind of like drive their own car, right? Be in charge of their life, get out of that sleepwalking phase. Like, what did you found helped you like break free from that or like wake up per se?
Yeah.
Take the wheel back.
Self-education is the biggest one. Change your perspective from judging yourself, judging others, and apply that lens or that point of view of understanding.
Yeah.
Right? Learn, understand. Why, like, and understand yourself. Right? Like, I just talking over dinner the other night, like I had like this huge realization, at 29 years old of why I've binged eat my whole life. Right?
Mm-hmm. And
it was funny that it clicked that way. I was talking to you about it and you asked me why. Right? And as the conversation continued, started talking about like family dynamic. We were talking about, hey, everything's tied to psychology. Right? And like we said, from the ages of from you're born to 5 years old, your subconscious mind is so vulnerable that your environment and what you're exposed to you're just unfortunately really vulnerable to that, right?
For sure.
And I think for me, my whole childhood, I was just always eating, right? Binge eating since I was a kid. And that's always been a problem for me. But to go back to your question is learn to understand, learn yourself and judge less.
Yeah.
That's the biggest one because you're no better. We're all human, and help where you can. Right?
Yeah.
Like truly help where you can and understand that everyone's on their own journey. Everyone's on their own path. And just because you may be ahead compared to others, it doesn't make you any better.
Yeah.
And unfortunately in the infantry, you know how we were, right? That was something I had to overcome. But yeah.
I like that, man. I think there's a lot of good stuff there. Yeah. I've preached about it probably endlessly to anyone listening to this show. Probably hates hearing about it by now, but just learning you and the value of learning who you are, what you like, what you don't like. And like I said with you, the other day is it's not always learning what you're good at, but like also the value of knowing what you're bad at. If you know that food's in the fridge and you're going to eat it, bro, get it out of there.
Yeah.
Right? If I don't got food made, I'm going to go order some fucking DoorDash, or I'm going to go out and get something to eat, man. I better make that fucking food then.
Sure.
Not because it's what you're good at, because you know what you're bad at.
Yeah.
You know, so just the value of when you truly start to understand yourself, you can, like, you know, it's like putting the puzzle together. Oh, I know if the corner's then like I work my way in, right? Like, that's it. You're laying the corners down so that you can create the picture of understanding who and what you are and what works and what doesn't work. I think, yeah, if I look at myself too, like that was the thing, is like learning who I was, what I liked, what I didn't like, being more comfortable with that, like letting that version of me come and be in the front and be forward facing all the time. It's just huge.
Absolutely.
So on this one, man, because I know this is a huge one for both of us, though. On confronting fear, have you applied the philosophy of confronting the cave you fear to enter your own life?
Yeah. Confronting the cave you fear to enter your own life.
Yeah.
So it sounds similar to my favorite quote that I have.
Yeah.
I watched every episode. Man. Yeah, I mean, it's full circle. It's all tied to learning how to overcome that autopilot mode, right? But, yeah. Say that quote one more time, or that question.
Yeah. How have you applied the philosophy of confronting the cave you fear to enter your own life?
Man, that's deep. Doing difficult things, man.
Yeah, bro.
That's why I did the marathon. That's why I did the half. That's why I stopped drinking. That's why I stopped playing video games. Nothing against people who do that, but for myself, right at heart, it's just straight gluttony, man. That's all I want. I overconsume. I have no self-control with it, right? And I feel like I've overcome it really well, but I feel like I could understand drug addicts now, right? Like for me, it was food.
Yeah.
For me, I never had an issue with alcohol, but I see why people, get addicted to it. Mm-hmm. But in order to apply that philosophy, you need to snap out of your daily routine, do something that's going to just challenge you, right? Whether it's running a marathon, doing a podcast like what you do, right? Applying for that job that terrifies you, speaking to the girl that you like so much, but you're so nervous to talk to, right?
Yeah.
Do difficult things.
Yeah. And
it's going to suck. And I've learned a lot, man. This is, like I said, is one of the most difficult things I've ever done, especially when my hamstring locked up at mile 22, or when I started falling out of your pace at mile 16, I think it was.
Yeah.
You have to dig deep, and you have to do something that's going to facilitate growth.
Yeah.
You have to.
And I'll tell you this today. I didn't tell you yesterday. Like, the reason I didn't slow down is because, like, I feel like I know you pretty well, and I think if I would have slowed down, you would have progressively slowed down more. Yeah. If I would have just, like, slowed down with you, I think you would have slowed down more and slowed down more. But the fact that you saw me, like, not break from it, and I was like, no, this is the pace I said I was keeping, like I think that it maybe in some weird way for you was like, no, I can't fall too far behind.
Yeah.
I kind of was saying, like, intrinsically motivating for you, like, nah, fuck, like, nah, I got more in me. I got to push through.
Yeah.
You know, of that, like, I maybe not wanting to, like, disappoint me per se or whatever, you know. I was part of you regardless, but I was like, I know he doesn't want me to slow down.
No, I didn't expect you to.
Yeah.
Like, I expected you to keep going.
Yeah.
Because I would have done the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
I would have done the exact same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. You stuck to your word. You stuck to your pace.
Yeah.
And those hills got me, man. Those hills.
It was brutal, bro.
Yeah.
Especially on the way back, bro. At the end, fuck. For y'all people who don't know, come run the Honolulu Marathon. It's like mile, like what, 5 or 6, like 6 on the way out.
Diamond
but
Head?
Yeah. No. After that, where remember like 24, the hill that you have to run up, but then you run down it at what, mile 6 or so. Mm-hmm. You run down it going out.
Yeah.
In mile 6 or 7, but on the way back, it's mile 24 up fucking hill.
Yeah.
That shit was brutal, bro.
It was.
I was feeling like a fat bitch on that hill.
It was, man.
God, it was fucking intense. But yeah, no, man. Hard things. Because it's like, if you don't, there's a good quote by Alex Ramosi. I've said it before. You probably heard it, but it says like, the work works on you more than you work on it.
Mm.
So it's like, if I take my hand and I rub my knuckles across that rock right behind us, they're going to bleed. Why? Because that rock's tougher than I am. But it's not just me rubbing against the rock's rubbing back against me. That's like the same thing happens to you with the work. You do something hard, it's not just you rubbing against the hard thing is also rubbing back on you.
Absolutely.
Toughening you up, callousing you as well to be able to handle more hard things. So maybe the hardest thing for you right now is just getting out of bed. Well, get out of bed and continue to get out of bed until you can take on something harder than that.
Yeah.
And then progressively, like I've told people before, like you don't go from I'm 300 pounds to I'm 180 and fit like overnight. I mean, it's habits over a period of time, progressionally, that get you there. Like the same thing is true with success. You don't go from I'm broke to I'm rich unless maybe you win the lottery, but like to earn it, it's going to be progressional steps. You maybe you don't even have a job. So the idea of wealth seems so foreign to you because you don't even have any income. Well, let's get a job. Doesn't matter fucking where. Let's just get you making some money. And then we'll move from there. Right? And so I think that it's because those things that you're pursuing, the hard, the work, whatever it is, like it's just as valuable and rubbing against it. Like that's where you learn. Right? Like there's something about doing something hard or that feels just out of reach. It's like, for me, I love these like simple metaphors that exist in life already. It's like, how do I get stronger? Well, I lift a weight that's just uncomfortable enough that I could do, but not for as many as maybe I'd like to do. But like that discomfort, that like, fuck, like not if you're sure if you're going to get the rep, like enough of those, that's how you get stronger.
Yeah.
You don't just go in the gym and grab the fucking hundreds and start fucking repping them out. Like, man, if it's the fives, get after the fives, the 10s, the 20s, whatever it is for you. But like we have these like little lessons, metaphors that exist like collectively throughout our life already. That are the examples. Like that's how life works. You're not going to get any better if you don't challenge whatever that current status quo is for you. Running, your marriage, with yourself. Like so, how could you expect that you were then going to like get this knowledge, get this perspective, have the better relationship, make more money, get faster, get stronger, if you weren't intentionally pursuing things that were challenging that? It seems kind of like insane to assume that I was going to be comfortable and then just be on the couch doing leg raises and my quads are going to get huge.
Yeah.
There's no force against them to make them grow. So why would they?
Definitely.
You want to become better than you are? Well, you better go fucking rub up against something that's fucking tougher than you.
Yeah.
It's going to challenge the kind of person you think you are, the person you think you could be.
I agree. Like I told you the other night, I believe life is about reaching levels of comfort in your life.
Yeah.
And figuring out a way to break through that barrier to reach the next level.
Yeah.
And it never ends.
Yeah.
It never ends. For those of us that want to improve, want to be better, it truly never ends. And I think that's a beautiful thing.
There's definitely like an infinite amount of ceilings, proverbially, left to break through.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you asked me earlier, like, was there like a certain point, a certain event? And I told you it was like a cumulative, like compounding events in my life that led to me wanting to change. I think subconsciously I was hitting those comfort zones.
Yeah.
And I just knew like, all right, what's next? What am I doing?
Yeah.
Although I wasn't conscious about it, applying my, conscious mind and reasoning about it, but deep down inside, I knew it was time for a change. Yeah. And it never ends. And man, it's easier said than done for sure.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, it's kind of like what I told you. It's like, a lot of people will think, even you at times have thought maybe that like, I just got to this level of whatever by just like, oh, like I'm motivated, I'm super disciplined. Like, bro, I put on the shoes and look at them.
Yeah.
Stare at my feet. Fuck, I don't want to do this run. Or, like you're 4 hours behind me in time right now, but like, how many times I text you at like 7, 8 o'clock at night? That's 11 midnight my time that I just finished a run. Because man, like I don't want to do it.
Yeah. That's tough, man. And for those of you who don't know, Austin in his training, this man doesn't play around. He invited me out to a track workout. And this is when I was like barely starting. I was like 210 pounds. I'm like 185 now. 11 and a half minute mile at fucking 170 heart rate heartbeats per minute. And he's like, hey man, we're just gonna do
couple intervals.
8 400s. I was like, what, 8? No, it was 10 that day, bro.
It was 10, but we only did 8.
Yeah, and I fell out. I like
3.
4. Yeah.
Yeah.
Bro, I was so upset at myself.
You fucking suck.
Just locked up. And it was hot. It was hot.
Yeah. But we went at night.
Yeah.
But it was still hot as fuck.
Man, I fell out. It's probably the first time I ever fell out of a run.
Bro.
And I was out of shape, right? My career changed. I was just on a desk all day.
But that first lap, bro, after the first rep, you're like, bro, what the fuck was that? I smoked the shit.
They were like in the high 4s, I think. Like 450 something.
Yeah, I did it in a little over a minute, bro. A lap around the track. It was like 62, 67 seconds.
It was honestly really inspirational to see. I was like, wow.
But you had to see like what kind of like tempo I worked at.
Yeah, that was crazy, man.
Yeah.
And doing that, it really made me appreciate the process.
Yeah, bro. I kept telling you, I said, it's just 6 time.
Yeah.
I said, like, and I always was open with you on like, hey, I didn't get to this, like we said earlier, I didn't get to this overnight.
Yeah.
Like, bro, I've been running adamantly now, like almost on a daily basis for the better half of 3.5, almost 4 years.
And those aren't easy runs, man.
No, bro, they're not.
They take
and
a
they
lot
still
out of you.
suck.
Yeah.
Like I told you, like with everything else, like I hate the speed work too.
Yeah. Remember I asked you, I was like, how do you get used to it? He's like, you want the soft answer or the real answer?
Yeah, I did. I said, you want the real answer?
Come on, bro, be real.
I said, you don't.
Yeah.
You don't ever get used to it. Because like, again, as you get better, what now you have to up the intensity to now make it hard for you.
For sure.
Because if you stayed where it was, if we went and ran an 11-minute mile, you'd be like, bro, my heart rate's 110.
Yeah.
I'm chilling.
Yeah.
Right? So like to now get that same level of like, oh, if we were going for more intensity, like we'd have to run faster.
Yeah.
So it's like, no matter, even though you're better, there's a level that's better than you are, that if you want to get better, you're going to have to go seek that. It's like, maybe you can only run for 30 seconds. Okay. Yeah. But once we get to where we can run 30 seconds, like, let's run for a minute. Okay. When we get to a minute, let's do 2 minutes, and it's those progressional things. Like you can't get out of bed. You hate your life. You're miserable. Like, well, let's just try to get out of bed. Right. They aren't going to be these huge wins that are glorified and like really all that sexy. Like I told you the other day, like, man, the most successful shit's really pretty unsexy.
Yeah.
It's pretty boring. It's pretty mundane. Like get up, eat, make your food, go to the gym, take care of your responsibilities you're not supposed to take care of, get a good amount of sleep. Like, boom, that's a day right there.
Rinse and repeat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it's like you do that for a long enough period of time, people are like, hey, bro, what's the secret? What's the cheat code? How you get that fit? What you eating? What you taking? What's this? What's that? And you're like, bro, this is the same shit I do every day. What do you mean? Right? Like, because it's not sexy. It doesn't win an awards. Nobody's going to go watch a movie on how to get fit. Right? And he, once again, is making chicken and rice. Now, there's other options than that. But, and he's back at the gym for another chest day. Like, it's not sexy. It's not going to sell. Right?
I've learned to really enjoy that grind, man.
Yeah.
And no one's perfect, right? Of course, I take my L's here and there, but you never feel good by not sticking to your word.
You don't.
By not sticking to your plan.
Dude,
because we were sharing that notes, right? When I got to Sunday and I was missing runs, it just felt terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
I'd see you in that motherfucker, bro, vigorously.
And what I've learned, though, is to really learn to love the grind, the process, but also learn systems.
Yeah, bro. I told you that too. Yeah,
you have to, and I love fitness. It's such a big part of my life now. I've ventured here and there. Never been the best or anything, right? But the best I could, and I just enjoy it. It's such a big part of my life now. Mm-hmm, and recently, it was running and truly learning how to run, and you've helped a ton with that. But what I've learned recently, especially with these races, is having something on the calendar.
It's like a built-in pressure.
Yes. Like before, when I was like, hey man, I just want to improve my 2-mile run for, the Army fitness test.
I think that lasted 3 weeks, bro. That lasted 3 weeks. And then you were like, man, I got this cruise. I got this. And I said, all right, cool, bro, whatever.
Yeah. But having something on the calendar.
It's like a built-in accountability thing.
Absolutely. And even finishing this run, right? Like when I did the half marathon, I didn't run again. I was like, man, I'm never running again. I'll be fine never doing a run for the rest of my life. Lost all progress. Yeah. But this time it was different, right? Like I was like, wow, that was challenging. And looking at everyone that passed me, looking at you, how effortless it seemed, right? Which it probably wasn't.
It was not, bro. I'm a fat fuck right now. That shit was hard.
I was like, man, I do not want to lose that progress.
Yeah.
I have to keep going, right? I want to keep going. So, understanding that you have to systematize things, you have to program, which I've learned a lot with running. And when I was like getting into powerlifting a little bit, you have to. Yeah. Right. And that led me to really enjoying tracking.
Yeah.
Right. Tracking lifts. Mm-hmm. I learned a lot with RPE. Right.
Yeah.
With you and Ben. Shout out to Ben. And then learning all that good stuff. So yeah, it's really important for me now, and I'm definitely going to adopt and apply all those principles moving forward for sure.
Yeah. Oh, definitely, man. It's like God, I feel like I just am. My podcast should just be like a knockoff fucking Target brand of like Chris Williams' podcast because he talks about like that everyone at the start of the start line of a 100-meter race has the same goal, right? It's to win.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not the person with the best goals who wins. It's the person with the best systems, right? And the systems could be training, diet, sleep. How can you avoid doing the things, that you shouldn't do? How can you make sure you continue to do the things you should do, right? Like building those systems in place, right? Like, hey, I know if I got fucking cake in the fridge, I'm eating it. Don't take home cake from the party.
Yeah.
Right. Like, again, like those systems that are that's what's going to help you win, right? How do you make yourself go out and train on days you don't want to? That's a system, like people look at it as they try and like simplify it down too much, but it's like, man, if you've got a complex system that works, like who cares? It works, But yeah, so the whole point is it's not the person with the biggest goals that wins. It's the person with the best systems.
Yeah.
Right. And systems is is one word to condense a lot of things, like your training plan, your diet, your nutrition, your sleep, your whatever that case is pertaining to the thing we're talking about success attributing to. But it was just baffling to me because I was like, oh shit, like I thought people with like big goals won. So really, that's the proof that it's actually not that. Like it is the person who like had maybe the best training or the best this or like the best all of those things. But that all is a system that they've perfected over time. I'd say like the only thing that's made fitness easier for me and life easier for me in general is just like you said in that scenario of like getting better with those systems, like getting better at like, actually this thing doesn't work. I need to do that. And then like adjusting my plan and realizing that that's a forever dynamic thing too. What worked for a few years, like didn't work now. So I had to change it. And now what's working right now, like in a few years, it'll probably have to change again. That's just part of life.
Sure.
Okay, man. Couple more here because I'm fucking getting cooked, bro. I'm a little pasty white fuck. Look at this shit.
You're facing the
Dude,
sun. I'm like
fucking getting smoked right now. Catching a mean tan, hopefully. But let's talk about when you something we've both talked about a lot historically, but just to give the people a little bit of the idea of it is about shifting perspective. From that anger, aggression, hatefulness to like love, sympathy, empathy, compassion, care. Like how have you kind of like been able to like switch that for yourself, or is that something you're still working to? And if you have been able to switch to it a little bit, maybe what were some of the things you found that helped you make that transition?
Yeah, that was tough, man. And I think what's more important is for each person that wants to shift and that should, because it's healthy for you, is face your trauma.
Yeah.
Face your trauma. You have to face it head on. You have to.
Yeah.
Quit dodging it. The moment you do that, the moment you let go, especially, and forgive not just others, but yourself, that's when you could truly live. That's when you could truly let go of the baggage that has been weighing you down your whole life.
Yeah.
And kind of tying it back to that mindset of understanding, that helped me a lot. Understanding why my father left. He was 18.
Yeah, bro.
He was a kid, bro.
I became a dad at 18. That's scary, bro.
Yeah. Fuck. He was a kid. Do I still judge him? Think he's a coward for doing it? Yes.
But you can understand.
Yeah, I could. And I actually reconnected with him, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I reconnected with him. He's a solid dude. Right? Yeah. Like I he cracks jokes just like I do. And
you realize that like some of the parts of you that you like actually are from parts of him.
Yeah, it was kind of weird to see. I invited him to my house. I bought that new crib in Katy, and he pulled up. It's kind of funny because I'll get back to the topic, but it's kind of funny. I was like, "Hey, man, hold this gallon of milk real quick." And I had my wife. Dude, you know my sense of humor, man.
Yeah.
I was pouring another pitcher, and he was holding the gallon.
He came back. Face ass.
He came back.
Oh fuck!
Yeah, I felt bad.
That.
I apologize afterwards, but it's all cool, man. I actually still talk to this day, but learn to understand and forgive and let go. Yeah. Right. And then your life would get so much better.
Yeah. No, I mean, kind of like we said the other day is like, fuck, what was it? That, like, yeah, as I said, like the understanding for me. Like, remember when we said like, damn, I see this person acting like a certain way. And my first thought is like, damn, like, I wonder what happened to you.
Yeah.
I wonder what's made you so like unwilling to try, to show an effort, to be so angry, so bitter, like, and again, because the understanding is for you. It's not for them. Like the understanding is for you so that you can navigate these people, these experiences, these situations in life better not so that they can feel good or to make them feel better. It's for you.
Yeah.
And like you said in that first part, is like, that's something I've wrestled with holistically, and I hate it, but I hate to admit it, but it's very true, is that I'm the reason that I've hurt for a long time. You know, like, it was my fault. Like, yeah, the thing happened, but like, the thing's not happening now.
Yeah.
And I'm still hurt. So it's like, I'm perpetuating my pain.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, man, you know, like, when my dad left, man, that just really fucked my whole life. It's like, bro, you're 37. What do you mean, bro? When did he leave? Yesterday?
Yeah, bro.
Like,
exactly.
You got to deal with that. Like, you're the reason that, like, man, I never got out the hood because my dad left. Like, damn, you gonna give that man all that power?
Yeah.
For real? That's crazy. You know, like, it couldn't be you, could it? It couldn't be you still choosing those habits. You still feeling like a victim. You unwilling to work through those issues. Nah, it couldn't be that, huh? It'd have to be something else.
Yeah. And taking ownership.
Yeah, bro.
Own it.
Yeah.
That's up to you now.
Mm-hmm.
It happened. It passed. What are you going to do about it now?
Exactly.
Right? What day is it tomorrow? Right? Monday. Yeah. Tuesday. It's going to come, right?
Yep.
Life is always going to be there, but yours is going to end.
Yeah.
Start living it the way you want it to live.
Mm-hmm.
And live it on your terms. And to get back to your initial question is, how do you shift?
Mm-hmm.
So understand, forgive, let go, right? And once I did that, start just loving others, man.
Yeah. And
of course, I mean, again, full circle, it starts with yourself, the relationship you have with yourself, your self-dialogue, right? And then you start applying that to, outward. Inward, you're solid. You checked everything, you did inventory, and it's not going to be, overnight. It's a work in progress.
Yeah.
But, as you've heard before, as within, so without, as above, so below.
Yeah.
Right. I love that because you are a reflection of you. Mm-hmm. That's why I love fitness. I don't know where I've heard it, right? But you see someone who's fit, that's a reflection of their habits. Yeah. That's a reflection of their discipline. Mm-hmm. Right. And then, vice versa. On the contrary, you see someone who's obese, it's a reflection of their habits.
At least with themselves.
Yeah. Yeah. With themselves.
Sure. Yeah. I only point that out because I had a long counter argument with Ben a long time ago.
Yeah.
Because I'll admit, like, I was a proponent of, like, the way you do anything is the way you do everything. I used to, like, live by that phrase, right?
Yeah.
He's fit, he's disciplined, he works hard, whatever. And then I worked with a dude who was fit, who was a lazy fuck at work, who wouldn't do shit, do the bare minimum. And then I realized, I was like, wait, there's a clear, like, problem in my holistic view of that hierarchy.
Yeah.
Fitness is important to him. His job isn't. So with those other people, and I've worked with people who maybe weren't very healthy, they were good as fuck at their job. And it was like, you can't group it like that. They care about their job a lot. Maybe they don't care about themselves enough, but they care about this fucking job. Like, Lisa shows the fuck up.
Yeah.
I don't know Lisa. That's just a fucking random name. But, like, just for context for anyone, but, like, I realized, like, I couldn't just group that all together. Yeah, maybe this person didn't really take great care of themselves, but man, they were the best person I could ever work with on this project.
Yeah.
And, like, fucking Tony over there, yeah, he's fit as fuck. I'd love to get a fucking good set in with him at chest day.
Yeah.
But I'd hate to fucking have to actually do this project with him or do my job with him, or, like, seeing how he is as a husband or as a friend, and, like, that dude sucks.
Yeah.
So it's like, no, it's like, it's about what you prioritize. So when people tell me, and conversely, in this area, like, I don't have time for the gym, I'm like, that's just not a priority to you. The time is there. Just something else is a higher priority to you. And so that really fucked with me, though, but it made me reevaluate the way I thought about people and about the world, and not be so maybe judgmental or so quick to be like, he's got a good physique, but he's a good dude.
Yeah.
She's got a good physique, she's a good woman. Like, no, maybe not. Maybe they care a lot about that. But what else do they care about? Like, there's more to a person than that one-dimensional thing. And you would think yes, some things do bleed over, but if that career is not in that, like, if you doesn't make their fucking top 5, it doesn't matter what they're good at otherwise. Mm-hmm. Right? Just again, an interesting way to think of life. And again, something I was just willing to share that, like, I had to own I was wrong on, and I was like, well, fuck, maybe I actually don't think that way.
Yeah.
Like, man, there's some not so healthy people that are really dope. And there are some really healthy people that are fucking pieces of shit. Right? Just what their priority list looks like is different. Your priority list is different than mine. Everyone's just different. Maybe we share a couple key points up there.
Yeah.
And again, it depends on what segment of your life you're in. Like, you just have a baby. Like, fitness may not be number 1.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean it can't come back, right? Like right now, like school's at the front for you, right? You're doing the RTC thing, you're going to school, like that's up there right now. 6 months ago, that wasn't on the list. Right? So like that list is also dynamically always changing too, to what's the most important to us relative to what we're doing in our life, what we're pursuing, or what challenges we're currently facing. Just an interesting thing that I've battled, so I wanted to share that with you.
No, I agree with that. And like I told you before, I was it's kind of just full of myself, man.
Yeah.
You know, that superiority complex, right?
Mm-hmm.
Especially in infantry, right? Like, you're not with us, you ain't this, you ain't that.
Yeah.
But outside of that, I would judge people so much, right? Because I thought I was better, or, oh, look at this guy, he's fat, he's lazy.
Yeah.
He's a piece of shit. And although looking at it now that I've got past that, sure, they don't have the same values as I do, or maybe the same principles, but that doesn't mean they're not a bad person.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, that they're not a good person.
No, they're not good.
Yeah, excuse me. And then that's where shifting that energy, right, from dark, being fueled by dark energy and aggression, right, to love, right?
Yeah.
Being compassionate, empathetic.
100%.
That has been huge for me.
Yeah. I agree, man. Oh man, a couple more here, because I'm really getting fucking cooked physically, not mentally. Mentally, I'm really thriving with this. I feel like we've had like 6 different mini podcast conversations throughout the weekend already. So you mentioned a little bit in your little note to me about Ryan Holiday and his message of live a life that demands you to take a leap.
Yeah.
Can you tell me a little bit about that? What does that mean to you?
Yeah, man. Such a great author. I got that from his book. It was his Stoic Virtue series. It's his first book. It's called Courage is Calling. Mm-hmm. Fortune Favors the Brave. And as you mentioned, right, you should lead a life that demands you take a leap. Mm-hmm. What that means to me is quit playing it safe. All right, bro?
Yeah, I'm catching a fucking calf cramp. I'm good though.
Yeah, you just ran a sub 4 hour marathon.
It's not that impressive, bro, but yeah.
For me, it is. What is impressive?
I think it's personal.
Yeah?
Impressive is personal.
It is.
I believe so.
But for you, a marathon, what, sub 3?
If it's relating to me, that's different.
Yeah.
Right. As I was impressed by your effort yesterday. Right. Because I know you, and I knew you never ran, and I knew how long the prep was. And, so I was impressed by that. Right. But what I will accept from my own performance as impressive is significantly different. But that's subjective solely to me. What I would subject to impressive by you or someone else, like it's person dependent, it's scenario dependent. There's too many variables.
We'll ever really impress ourselves though, because it's always we always want more.
Yeah, I
agree with that.
100%. Yeah, but what I would deem impressive, it's not a certain time. Like, I mean, man, running a marathon's impressive in general. It's hard. Running a marathon's hard. It's not easy. It requires a lot of time, discipline, and effort. So I would like anyone who runs, I would have a certain level of like. I would be impressed by that, right? Because it's not something that everyone's just doing anyway.
Yeah.
So regardless of their time, but then again, like certain variables, like if we're just going to if you're just trying to throw out times to be impressive, like, I mean, something sub 3-ish, I'm like, oh damn, bro, or she is a runner. Like, damn, okay, sub 3, you're in there.
Yeah.
But again, if someone said they ran a 3:30 marathon, like, I mean, that's still fucking impressive. Depending on them. Now, would I view that as impressive? It's like, no, because I've done that already. So to me, that's not as impressive for me subjectively, right? But to, I guess, simply answer your question is, I think to be impressed by something is subjective to one, who it's to, and what the subject is. Like with kids, like you're impressed when they take their first steps. No 30-year-old man's getting a pat on the back for walking today, right? Like it's subjective.
Yeah.
Right. So, subjective to the thing of impression. Right, what there is to be impressed by, and also who it is. Yeah. I think again, like you said there, maybe with ourselves, like you're like me, like you were hard on yourself yesterday. You're still beating yourself up a little bit about it.
Yeah.
Right, because like you wanted more. You thought you could do a little better, and you can. It's just gonna take a little more time and a little more effort and a little more consistency, and not skipping the speed work, and that now. So it's like, all right, well, we can do it again. We can do it better. Right. So, yeah, to me. Impression is just really subjective to who and what we're looking at.
Definitely. And that ties close to that previous question, right? What does that mean to me? Mm-hmm. Lead a life that demands you take a leap.
Yeah.
Really, I feel like it's been the theme of what we've been talking about is take action.
Yeah.
Right. Seek challenge. Quit playing it safe.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and for me personally, I've been doing that my whole life.
Yeah.
The people I idolize been doing it their whole life.
Yeah. To me, the irony in that's like you already know what happens when you play it safe.
Yeah.
There's nothing new. Like, you know how this game and like how it ends. You've seen it.
Mm-hmm.
So people, you know, like, I guess for me, I struggle now holistically to like understand the will or the want to like pursue the comfort. Like, I mean, I think it is genetically a default of our brain. We've it's been studied that is the case. But for me, I just don't get it in the way of like, I already know like what I know. Like 2 + 2 still equals fucking 4. Like there's no need to like revisit this a million times to know that. I know that if I don't take care of myself and I don't take care of my health, like I'll become unhealthy. I will get overweight. My body will start to fail me. Like I know that. So it's like if you're someone who's stuck there, like I just can't get it to get healthy. Like why? You know what currently is already like you know the outcome of this. It won't change. The story won't just suddenly arc over and you'll be healthy and like, oh my god, I'm cured of all of my problems. Like no, it'll deteriorate till you die. That's it. I don't want to pursue that career that could make me a lot of money. Well, you know what not making any money is giving you? Do you like that? Are you comfortable with that? Or are you wanting more? If you're wanting more, then like that fear is temporary. This every day, I can't afford my bills or I can't afford food or like the lights are cut off. Like that's every day already.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm not meant to get it, but like, I just can't get what staying in the same spot does because you already know what's there.
I get it. I truly understand it because that was me.
Yeah. I mean, it's been me before too, but I'm saying, but now that I'm out of it, like I can't go, like, it's like once the blinders are gone, bro, like you can't put them back on.
Yeah.
And you know, I'll be honest, sometimes I would like to. Sometimes I've told you, like, I'd like to just lay down on the couch and chill.
Yeah.
Right. But like the fucking voices are so quick to come back and be right there in my fucking face and be like, you're falling behind. You're fucking weak. Do better. Like you said, you wanted those things in your life. Like how yesterday after the race, all I did was edit and get all that shit out, and I didn't take it out. Though I was fucking head bobbing for dick on the fucking kitchen table.
Yeah.
Like I finished that episode and I put it out, and then like edited some other stuff for today, and for yesterday it was like, because I said I wanted these things, so now it's time to pay. The cost is due, rent is due for the goals I said I wanted, and now I'm going, oh, I want a nap. So I'm not tired. Yeah, fuck yeah, I'm tired. I ran a marathon. I got shit to do.
Mm-hmm.
Like I know what happens on the other side of not doing it. I've been there. I already know what that gets me. And if I don't want that anymore, then I don't know. Like there's your answer. Like it's built into it. There's your answer.
Could that be taught?
I think any of it's taught. I think it's like the gym. Like you got to want it.
Yeah.
You've got to want it. You can't wait for me to hype you up to care enough. You've got to care enough, and then I'll give the game away. I'll tell you how to figure it all out. I'll help you through whatever roadblock. Like, you've got to fucking want it. That's it to me. I mean, to me, that's it. And maybe that's a simplified, condensed version of it.
Yeah.
But like, if you're intentional on, I want to get better, I want to figure it out, like, between your want to do so and somebody willing to help you, like, bro, the gains come so quick. They're so rapid. The learning happens so fast. It's like, so I think it can be taught, but it's got to be like, it's got to be, like the age-old problem. Like, I need somebody to motivate me in the gym. I need somebody my motivation to get in the gym or to do the things I know I should do.
So common, yeah.
It's like, well, then you don't want it. And when you do want it, you realize you don't need any of that shit.
Yeah. Like I told you, I mean, the reason why I say I get it is because it was me, and I know you can relate to that.
Yeah, no,
I'm not saying, talking against your point, but applying again that lens of understanding, right? Is I get it. It's easy.
No, yeah, and I've said that.
Yeah,
like, I get, yeah, it is easy.
Who doesn't want to sleep in?
Fuck yeah.
Who doesn't want to eat the good food?
Yeah.
Right? I totally get it. But I think, people are just in their own journey, and not until they face that.
Yeah.
Like maybe you did, whenever that point was, or when I did, they're not going to take action. And unfortunately, it's common, but I'm going to love them from afar. I'm going to dab them up.
Yeah.
But respectfully, get the fuck out of my way. And I'm going to surround myself with, like-minded individuals, and only way is up.
For sure.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, man. I'm going to hit you with the question I told you I was going to hit you with now. Yeah. I don't know if you're ready for it. We talked about it the other night at dinner. Oh shit, where'd it go? Fuck, sorry. Damn, I can't see my screen very well. Okay. If you looked back on, your life and everything, like, and you and I had this conversation the other day, what would be some advice that you would give to your younger self?
Man, it's okay that your dad left.
Why would you give that? What would that do for little Danny?
Give like that sense of comfort,
Mm-hmm.
that sense of assurance and security that you're gonna be okay.
Yeah,
And that life is beautiful, man.
it is.
What you're feeling now, it'll pass.
Yeah, the
It'll
good and the
pass.
bad.
Yeah,
Like that, that man in life is balling right now. It'll go away.
yeah.
And that man, I want to kill myself. I hate my life. It's miserable. I don't want to do this anymore. That'll go away too.
That's what I would tell to my kid self, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. And just let him know that he's on the right path and to enjoy it.
Yeah.
Enjoy life. Truly, truly enjoy it, and then everything's gonna work out.
It's kind of like I told you the other day, is like the kind of the mantra I've taken mentally to it is that, like, what can I give to myself that I didn't have then? Like, what did little me need? And how can I become that now so that I can give it to him now? So that I can give him that peace, so that I can heal him fully for the things that he didn't get then, so that he can truly be freed and be rid of that pain and that loneliness and that sadness and that anger and that hatred and all those things that I was harboring and holding on to when I was young. And as I've continued now to ask a few people some altered version of this question, I also then like sit on myself, and I think like what I would say to myself or what I would give to me. And I think that's what I'm pursuing every day now, is just, what did he need and how can I become that? Because then I know with healing that version of me becomes the ability to actually find out, like I said earlier, like facing those traumas and dealing with it. So if I can give him that and heal him, well, he's part of me. So then by default, I'll just be getting better as a consequence of it. And it's tough, bro. Like I didn't tell you this yesterday, but like, man, races get me, bro. Like, I think it's why I try not to race a lot. I get super emotional during them because, like, it's kind of like what I told you. 4 months ago, you couldn't run a marathon, right? Like, it just probably wouldn't happen. Like, your cardiovascular fitness wasn't there, let alone the speed. Like, maybe you could have thugged it out, at some 5-hour, 6-hour mark, like how your homies did. No disrespect, they still did it, but like, but you wouldn't have been fulfilled in that. You'd have been the same thing from the first half. Like, I'm never doing this shit again. It's like, and really, it wasn't the thing. A marathon's always 26.2 miles. It never changes. 50 pound dumbbell at the gym always is just 50 pounds. The only thing that ever relatively changes in perspective to it is you. The version of you that walks up to the start line. The version of you that picks up the 50 pounds. That's all that's ever different. The weight's always the weight. The mileage is always the mileage. And especially when I'm like, it always happens at the same spot for me. I've never shared this with anyone out loud, so sorry if it's taken me a while to get there. It's just bitchy for me. I cry every time I'm almost done with the race. Like, when I see the mile 26 sign, tears, bro. Every time.
Really?
And it's like, because I know that there was a version of me that at one time never could do this. That never could. That never thought he would. That never would have imagined it. That the idea of even... And bro, and the crazy part is, it wasn't so long ago. Like, this isn't even like some I'm looking at kid me shit anymore. Like, this is like grown man me.
It's like 4 years ago. Right?
Yeah, bro. This isn't even that long. Like, there was a version of me who, like, a fucking marathon? No shot. Let alone at the pace or at the effort that I can do it now. And so it's like I look at, I guess, that version of me in that moment in my head. And it's just like it's my humble reminder of like who I've become and who the version of me I've been able to create. And again, like we said, like, to have that gratitude for the previous version of me. Without him, I wouldn't be here. And though I don't want to go back to that one, Like, he was strong enough to endure and hold on when I didn't think I would hold on any longer. So that would have never allowed this version of me to exist, you know? And so it gets me emotional, man. Like, I do it every time now when I'm running, especially a marathon, you know, because like, it's hard, bro. Like, it's still hard. Like, bro, I was sucking. I may have made it look good, but like, bro, shit, it still sucked, you know? And it requires so much effort and so much like intentional choice. Every step of that race is a choice. And any moment you could choose to stop. So for just under 4 hours, I had to continuously make that choice to keep going. But it's just so that I could, like, not even in a negative way, but like look at that old version of me and be like, I'm not going to give up now.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to let, this is who I am now. That version of me that used to be there, like, you'll never win again. I'll never quit again. I'll never say I'm going to do something and not do it again. And do it to the fucking best I can, regardless of how much weight I've gained. And because I've been bulking, and so like I'm a lot heavier now than when I ran my last marathon. But I was like, I don't give a fuck. I'm gonna run it. I'm gonna push this bitch out. And I mean, could I have probably ran it a little faster? Maybe. I think I could have sucked some dick for a 340 or so if I'd really left it all out there, you know. But I don't know, man. It's this weird sensation of like fulfillment and accomplishment and maybe some pride, but it's just like this moment of like, if I had to paint the picture for you, it's just like this mirror moment of like, what I see in the mirror isn't me though. It's just that old version of me. And it's just my like way of like letting him know, like, this, like I said, this is who I am now. This is the version of me I'll choose to continue to be and continue to refine and improve upon, not that version. And all those times that I thought I couldn't do it, or I wouldn't, or that I said I never would, like, look at us now. Look at all we've become. Look at all we've achieved. You're fucking casually running a marathon in Hawaii with your friends. Who are you?
Life is good, man.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, bro.
It's powerful. And I couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
I love that. And what came to my mind as you were explaining that is that old version of myself, he's always knocking on the door.
Yeah, he's right there.
He always is, man. I deal with that motherfucker every fucking day.
Yeah.
All the time.
I challenge you, though, that the best version of you is also knocking on the other door.
Yeah.
It's just which knock do you choose to listen to?
It's the power of decisions.
Yeah.
Which is so powerful. Like, every decision we've ever made in our lives had led to this moment.
Right here, yeah.
And the ones that were made, that's the past.
Yeah. Can't change them.
We have the present. And tomorrow's, future
mystery,
present.
Man.
Yeah. And I love that.
Yeah. So you tell him it's okay.
Yeah.
I think, man, it's funny that these answers, not funny, that's the wrong word, but like, it's ironic that these answers are so simple. You know, a buddy of mine I told you said, like, you matter. You know, that's all he told you. Like, it's not, this like fucking lengthy roll out the parcel fucking red carpet length shit. Yeah. Like, it's a few words, man.
Yeah.
And so the reason I mention that is because, like, if you're looking to try and make an impact or give value to someone else, like, it doesn't have to be some crazy typed out, like, well put together piece of words. Like, man, just a few really intentional choice words can really, like, mean a lot.
Yeah.
Even like, I'm proud of you. Good job. I'm here for you. Right? Like, 2 to 4 word things that weigh a lot, that mean a lot to people. Right? We don't need the 6 paragraph in whatever font, MLA format. Like, man, just and say it and mean it. I think that's the most powerful thing in regards to that. Like, it doesn't have to be all these words or that mean all this stuff. Like, a few really simple things mean the most to the majority of people. Like, when people tell me they care about me or they're proud of me or thank you, or I appreciate you helping me with this run. Like, and that shit's worth every time I, was like, let me check his Strava run. Make sure this motherfucker's doing what he's supposed to do.
Yeah.
And like, but then also being in admiration of like, damn, look at my boy running 20 miles today. Damn. Look at that motherfucker go. Like, and like, that's where, like that, I don't even have like words for that. It's so, it makes me feel good. You know, like, damn, like I've been able to give this dude something, and like, look at him doing shit now that like he didn't even think he could do at one point. You know, like we said earlier, like the most impactful thing, I think, the most fulfilling thing is to be useful to other people. Right?
Absolutely.
Like, give back to others, right? Whether that be time, energy, money, whatever you can give, right? Like wisdom, experience. Like, it's kind of a big reason I enjoy doing the show, is just trying to give like people understanding, perspective, knowledge, things that I've had to some of it gained the hardest fucking way possible. It's like, how can I give that back to someone in maybe not such a shitty manner, and maybe more of an understandable way for them? So,
we know that you guys are definitely accomplishing that.
Yeah,
it's been really inspirational and impactful for me, seeing the process, seeing how because you see the episode and, oh, okay, cool, it's another episode. When is this going to drop? Sunday. But seeing you edit, staying up late, not sleeping after that marathon, going back and forth, figuring out the tech, the issues we had, you know, since we've been out here a few hours.
Yeah.
Just want to let you know, man, it's working.
Appreciate it, bro.
And you have impacted my life, and I'm sure the other guests in your show as well, people that are listening.
I appreciate it, man.
Since meeting you, man, my life has truly changed for the better. And having individuals like you in my circle is what I strive to have. And whatever you're doing, man, is just keep going.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Yeah.
Just trying to, it's like similar to the spouse comment for me. It's like, how do you find a great spouse? It's like, you become that. You know, and I told you, like, one of my goals earlier in this year that I made with my therapist was, like, I want to have more meaningful relationships and improve the ones I already have. So, well, how do I have good friends? How do I become a better friend?
Yeah.
How do I show up for people? How do I just, like, you know, like we said yesterday, with like the guilt or whatever, it's like, hey, sorry it took me so long to reply. You know? Little things like that with my own, like, angst or worry, but yeah, just trying to be the kind of friend I'd like to have. You know? I don't think that episode's out yet, where I talk a lot about my, like, earlier childhood that I had like no friends. So I was like 11 or 12 years old, just like the weird little awkward kid that got picked on a lot, and boo-hoo, sad me. I look pretty cool now, so whatever. People don't want to hear all that, but, you know, like, that was a reality for me. And so I really struggled to, like, cultivate friends and be a good friend. I wasn't always a friend that I would have liked to have. Unfortunately, there's a greater period of my life, enough time hasn't passed by yet for me in the positive direction. Meaning, like, there's more of my life than not to this day that I was not the friend I would like to be. And I hate that. And like I said to you before, you know, with, like, I don't want to allocate any more time to that. Right? Like, that time I already gave, it's there. It's tucked in the corner. It's its own little space. But I don't want to feed it anymore. I want to be the kind of friend that people want to have. Right? Because I know that's inversely the kind of friends I want. So, I don't know, man. I think it goes back to the impressed thing. Like, yeah, I took a lot of time to try and, like, get this stuff ready and whatever. You know, we still have problems.
Yeah.
You know, like, it still didn't initially, like, go the way we thought it would, but, like, here we are. You know, and it's happening, and fucking Hawaii. You know, like, it's crazy. Here we are.
You better get in the water with me afterwards.
Yeah, I'm gonna get in the water, bro. I'm hot.
Yeah, we getting in.
But yeah, man, I appreciate those words, man. They mean more to me than my initial expression may indicate. So thank you. Last one, bro. This is it. What is, if you could share a quote, piece of advice, something with the people, man, what you got? Let's hear it.
One of my all-time favorite quotes is by Joseph Campbell.
Joseph Campbell. Is he a writer?
No, he was like a philosopher back in the day.
Okay. Yeah. I thought you were going to use something from, like, Aurelius or somebody.
No,
this is okay. Here, let's hear it.
You know, like Aurelius. I mean, I do go on and on, but this one, man, it's so deep.
Hit me with it.
The cave you fear to enter holds the treasure you seek.
Oh yeah, bro.
Joseph Campbell.
Dude. Yeah. I love that.
And how I interpret all that, you know, again, tied with taking action and being out of your comfort zone. Face your problems. You have to. Yeah. Whatever it is that's scaring you, you should pursue that. Right? Like, in my case, the marathon, this podcast. Right? Yeah. Initially, I was like, no, I don't want to do that. You know, it's not really my thing.
Yeah, you told me, you said you were going to say no.
Yeah.
But, like, I called you, like, hey, so should I do the podcast?
Yeah.
You were like, oh, I don't think I'm a good guest.
Yeah.
But I think that, to me, that ties back to what I said earlier. Is like, you know where all your shit is. Mm-hmm. you know where your problems are. That's how you avoid them.
Definitely.
It's like what you're the most scared to lean into. It's because you know that's where all the fucking answers are. It's just, can you handle the truth? Maybe it's that you are the problem, not the thing. You're the thing that's hurting you, not life, not that unfortunate circumstance. You're the reason you're not as successful as you want to be. Not that Tommy got promoted above you, or that John, your boss, is a dick. Like, maybe you don't work as hard as you think you do. Yeah. The reason you didn't get into that school that you want is because maybe you didn't study enough. Maybe it's actually you. Maybe you can't handle that truth because you don't want to accept it. Maybe it's not that every relationship has been shitty for you. It's maybe you've been a shitty partner in every relationship you've been in, right? Like, you know where to look to fucking find the answers. It's not about where to look. It's, can you handle them?
Sure.
But I love that, man. This was great.
And outside of that, like, I guess more specifically for advice, especially for people that are, struggling in life, dealing with the hardship, it's going to be fine.
Yeah.
It'll pass. It really will.
Mm-hmm.
But it's only going to work if you do, and you have to take action.
Yeah.
You have to. And you heard that saying, right? Knowledge is power. No, applied knowledge is.
Yeah. A lot of people knowledge don't do shit.
Yeah.
You got to use it.
Yeah. Apply it, take action, and truly enjoy life.
Yeah.
Life is beautiful.
It's amazing.
I've learned to just, like, I have not an ounce of hate in my heart anymore.
Yeah.
I truly learn to love others. And you see me talk to other people. I love people, man. That's how I met you, right?
You did.
Yeah.
I didn't talk to you. You talked to me.
Yeah. Yeah. Just learn to love and appreciate life. And, like energy attracts like energy.
100%.
Whatever you output, you will receive.
Yep. I agree. Man, that one's gonna sit at me for a while. Because it's so real. So fucking real. And you got me a little sitting in my thoughts on this one. All right, I told you, I gave you like a preemptive on what mine was going to be, just which one. So let me decide, like, right now. Okay, I'll use this one. So I'm going to use something by Juice WRLD. He just had his 5th album just dropped. People probably don't give a shit about that, but I'm going to say it anyway because free app for him, even though he's dead. But guy changed my life. As I shared with you, really helped me feel something when I thought I was truly alone in the world. And so what I'm going to say, my quote it's the lyrics from his song. And it says, this is dedicated to you if you felt the lowest of the lows. I know how it feels. You don't want to struggle anymore. That's anyone who maybe is feeling like just that. Like, if you felt what it feels like to truly feel alone or feel sad or just like you don't want to continue to push on anymore, like, I know what that feels like. But it doesn't have to continuously be that way, and it won't. Right? Whatever life is presenting you right now, there's a reason for it, though. You may not feel like there is, or that it's stupid or unfair. Like, there's a reason for it. And if you're willing to face it and deal with it, like, you can overcome that. And verses like that and many others really helped me feel like I could overcome it, that I wasn't alone, that it maybe wouldn't always be like that. So, R.I.P. Juice WRLD, 999 for life.
R.I.P.
That's all I got. And thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of Matrix Dialogues. I really hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and hope you enjoy the great view that we tried to create for you guys today. So thank you so much. And thank you to Danny, my dog. I appreciate you, man. Hope you guys enjoy it. Thank you so much.